Welcome back to another episode of the most enlightening and entertaining show on college radio, Social Penetration, and it's on right now.
Oh my God, it's time.
It is time.
It's time.
You are kooky.
I come alive when we go live.
I come alive when we go live too. As a matter of fact, I've been, have you seen the movie Fed Up? By the way, you're listening to Social Penetration right here on WCAS Radio. We are live. And if you want to watch us on YouTube, we're on YouTube channel, Social Penetration Radio.
Yeah.
And have you seen the movie Fed Up? Because I know that you watch movies.
Because I know that you watch movies. No, I haven't seen it yet. Mostly because when I read Fast Food Nation, it ruined a lot of food for me.
Okay.
And I'm afraid to watch Fed Up.
Okay. And
But now that's the one that basically compares the sugar industry to the tobacco industry, right?
I don't remember comparing it to the tobacco industry. And I watched it in class. That's how I watched it.
Right.
Was with actually Meredith Fisher, who will be on here later. She's my cravings and addictions professor. And
we went to high school together.
And your high school buddy.
Yeah, she knows a different side of me.
Yeah, that's awesome. She said she partied with you.
Oh, we raged.
Yeah.
We raged.
Isn't it funny that she's my cravings and addictions professor now?
You want to know something funny about Meredith?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a memory that I have about Meredith.
Okay.
Is when we were in high school, I was talking about having a vasectomy in high school.
Nice.
I was like, I'm just going to get a vasectomy now.
I was talking about getting my tubes tied when I was in high school.
Oh, yeah. And she was just like, she's like, y'all never be able to find a woman like that. They'll just look at you like you're like deformed and disfigured. Like she thought it was the most, she like couldn't believe. I mean, this is in high school. She could not believe that a high school boy would want to have a vasectomy. And I didn't get one, thankfully.
I wanted to get my tubes tied in high school. That seemed like an awesome idea. And they don't do it when you're in high school. Because honestly, I did have my tubes when I was like 15 years old. And when I was 25, I just asked them if they would do it. They said, no way.
This may be a little dystopian of me, but I think it would be I think it would be an interesting idea to consider too. Like, okay, saw Jurassic Park, right? I know you've seen like 5 movies in your whole life.
I never saw Jurassic Park.
There's this thing called the lysine contingency, which is basically they have it so that the dinosaur dependent on lysine from their characters. If they escape from the island, they won't be able to get the lysine and they'll die. All right. I think that it would be interesting to see if we could create some sort of contingency where in order to have children, you have to go to a doctor at a certain age and fill out some kind of test or take some kind of or preparatory, that there's something that you're required to prepare to be a parent. And then they give you the drug that makes your baby batter potent.
Okay.
Like,
that's actually a good idea.
Like it's like, or like put a little trap door in so that like
that's a good idea.
Your sperm can't escape until after the trap door is removed.
I'm just playing all kinds of stuff around here.
Anyway.
It did. After all the trap doors. No, you are brilliant, really. Hey, speaking of being brilliant, I'm a day maker, right?
Yeah. That's your thing. What are you doing here?
I also know it's your birthday on Monday.
Stacy.
Okay, so open that box. Okay, and really, the best stuff isn't even in that bag. Look at what my niece made. My niece made these for you. She Facebook stalked you, she said, and open them up.
What are you?
She has a company, and she made all of those. And you know what's weird? They taste delicious. They taste amazing, and they're beautiful, aren't they? Aren't those beautiful?
Stacy, this is the sweetest thing. I don't know what to say. This is wonderful.
Oh, I love your guts, buddy. I'm glad you were born.
Thank you so much. Look at this.
Aren't those?
Okay. What does not destroy me makes me strong. She just like pulled off a bunch of quotes or what?
Yeah.
Whatever is done for love always occurs beyond good and evil by Nietzsche. Yeah. That's
and look,
without music, life would be a mistake. That's from the back room at Three Kings.
Nice.
That's on. Yeah. That's happy birthday, Aaron. Hold on. And those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music. Nietzsche.
Nietzsche.
Wow.
I know, isn't she
Wow.
brilliant?
You need chaos in your life to give birth to a dancing star. Wow. What?
Aren't
what the-
those?
what
I
the
haven't
hell?
even. I didn't open them because I knew I would ruin the packaging.
And there's all these microphones
and amps.
and amps.
Wow, she's
This is
awesome.
crazy.
She did awesome.
This is crazy.
She does the best stuff.
Stacy,
She
come
does
here.
the best stuff. I love your guts.
I love you.
Mwah.
Thank
I
you.
know.
Thank
Okay,
you.
now you can open what's in the bag.
Okay, what's in the
Okay.
bag here?
Okay.
Happy birthday, Mr. Howell.
Okay. And so on the back of that, you can read on the back of that. I know that this is kind of seems boring.
Oh, no, that's awesome.
Really?
Thank you. A year of Amazon Prime. That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's coming to your email at 6:30
oh,
tonight.
Cool. Happy birthday, Aaron. I'm so glad you were born. My relationship with you and presence in my life. I love you tons and tons, and I'm wishing you the best year ever. Sincerely, all my juju. Stace.
I wish
Stacey.
you're so funny though that you just read the personal part of the gift. I'm
Well,
like, you know,
well-
and here's the thing, you know, I'm normally really uncomfortable with doing like public gifts or whatever, but
Yeah.
Mike and you actually, and my friend Julie, who are all NFJs, have convinced me that it's okay to do stuff for people out loud because it encourages other people to do the same thing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think it does.
Okay.
It does. Absolutely.
Okay. So
Oh, cool. You got okay. So we had the
sex toy
we had
party.
the sex toy party, which
Mhm.
I wasn't allowed to participate
Right.
in. And I had mentioned how the shave cream smelled
Mhm.
amazing.
and that you would like some.
Then I
So
would like some.
yeah.
And then what do we have here? We have Bosom Buddy,
Uh-huh.
which is a tingling balm
Uh-huh.
to rub on boobs.
Right. Excellent.
Some lucky
no,
lady out there is
I'm
gonna
hoping you like this. I hope that you're yeah. I hope you like it. Do you
Are
like
you
it? Or do you like it? And that's what the Amazon
Stacey.
Prime is for, is that you can check out all
Stacey,
kinds
this
of books.
is too much.
I'm so glad that you like it.
Oh my God.
Yay.
Stacy, this is too much.
I didn't know if you would like it or not, so I asked.
Yeah, she got me a Kindle and
Yay!
and a membership to
And-
Amazon Prime. Oh
and-
my God.
But look at this, because I know that you're a book elitist. So it's no, I do. But I also know you're going to be traveling a bunch. And so
Yeah.
it's the kind, my niece, Aubrey, who made these cookies, which this is her business.
Yeah.
Okay. Called Joy Rising Bakery.
Amazing,
Go
by
to
the way.
joyrisingbakery.com and she does beautiful, beautiful work.
Yeah, she does great
But
work.
she was advising me on what kind of Kindle, because she has one. And this is the kind that looks like a book when you read it.
Because I'm a book elitist.
I know.
That's so Stacy, thank
Yay. Happy
Oh
birthday.
my God. Thank you so much.
Happy birthday.
Wow.
Isn't that so great? And you
I'm-
even carried the box in.
I'm so stunned.
Do you want to see what happened though? Look at the corner of that box.
What?
Those were squirrels trying to get into your cookies before on my
Okay, if you're
porch.
watching on the YouTube feed, look at that. The box is just chewed to pieces
I
right
caught
there.
the little bastard in the middle of it.
Oh man, he was getting close too.
Right?
He was home free.
Yep, he was getting there. So
And Stacy, I'm totally stunned. Thank you so much.
I'm so grateful.
Thank you.
You're so easy to please.
I am super.
I'm
easy
glad
to
you were
please.
born. I'm glad your parents did it.
I actually wrote my dad a birthday card or a card once. For Father's Day.
Uh-huh.
I just gave him a card and it just said, "Dad, thanks for not pulling out. Love, Aaron."
That's so awesome.
And he was like, "No problem."
No problem.
That's exactly how he
that
talks.
sounds
too.
like, oh, that's awesome.
He looks like my dad looks like Alan Alda, like
Uh-huh.
spot on. Looks like
Okay,
Alan Alda,
right on.
and talks like Kermit the Frog.
Oh, that's
Spot on.
awesome. Hey, check this out. With hold on. With my birthday, I send my mom flowers on my birthday.
You send your mom flowers on your birthday?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I like that.
You like that?
That's good.
Thanks for birthing me.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
so much for birthing me.
And actually,
thank you.
it always says on my card, I said, "Hey, Mom, thanks for giving birth to me. Thanks for not giving me up for adoption when I was a teenager. And love, your favorite kid."
Well, nobody probably would have taken you when you were a teenager.
No,
No.
unless it was some prostitution ring.
I imagine you were a handful. It was like one of those prostitution rings in like the movie Taken. Another reference you won't get. Go home and watch it. It's a great Liam Neeson movie. It's
You know
good.
what? When we go camping on our camping trip, that's when I'll bring movies.
Right? And we'll watch
No.
movies. I know.
I'm totally serious. That's
I know,
the
that's
only
when you
time
watch
I ever
movies.
have time to watch movies. So what I do is I go to the library that's cat a corner from my house, and I go get all the TV shows or whatever that people tell me to watch. Somebody told me something about Boondocks. Have you heard of this?
Boondocks is cool.
I don't even know what it is.
It's an animated series. It's cool.
Okay. Yeah.
It's funny.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
So we have a lot on the show today.
We do have a lot on the show.
What are we going to talk about on the show today?
First of all, we are going to talk about a lot. First of all, you're listening to Social Penetration, where entertainment meets enlightenment, right here on WCAS Radio.
WCAS
Radio. And we're going to be talking about addiction. And I'm just going to let this go where it wants to. Okay, as far as addiction is concerned. But one of the things, I'm in a cravings and addictions class with Meredith Fisher.
Right.
And one of the things I'm really noticing, there's a woman in my class, okay, and hopefully she's not listening right now, but but I'm going to say it anyway, okay, but she's so judgmental about how people can overdrink or overuse drugs or whatever, okay? And I'm really open about the fact that I love booze. I love booze so much that I just really shouldn't drink it. And so I don't.
Has she had the experience of being addicted to anything?
She weighs, let's just clarify, she weighs like 350 pounds.
Okay.
You think she's addicted to something?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Yeah. So what I'm learning from this class is everybody is addicted to something. It's just whether or not they're willing or comfortable with, because I find myself all the time trying to replace one addiction for the other.
Well, we've talked about this before. I think we talked about it last week. A couple of things, which is the idea that I think you told me from Deepak Chopra, which is the quickest route to the divine. That whole argument.
Yeah.
And then the other aspect of it is what we talked about in the metaphor from that book One Breath at a Time that I had mentioned. The Buddhist 12-Steppers Guide, basically, is essentially what it is. And it talks about how, once you get rid of the dragon, it shows up in other places, shows up in other areas. And I certainly have noticed that since I stopped drinking, that energy shows up in other places, which I have to be pretty mindful about.
Yeah.
Because I don't identify as an alcoholic or an addict.
I
frankly do not.
I don't either. And I don't adhere to the disease model.
Yeah, me
which
neither.
will be something that we'll talk to with Meredith about. But yeah, I don't adhere to that.
Now, at the same time, I have noticed that since I've stopped drinking, I'm not going to lie, I haven't been an angel. I've done other drugs. I've done other drugs, and I have found I catch myself in the act all the time, indulging in other things. Whether it be checking my phone every 5 minutes, or whether it be, types of sexual compulsions or the compulsion. You and I run into this a lot being Enneagram 7s enthusiasts, is filling your life with needless activity, filling your life with as much activity as you possibly can.
Oh my God.
That you can also tell it. One thing I learned is it's about going unconscious when you're over your threshold. Okay. And there's lots of ways that we go unconscious. When our system is overwhelmed, we can go unconscious by bailing out, by ignoring it. One of the metaphors I really liked is you're paddling a canoe and all of a sudden the canoe starts to fill up with water. Okay. Now either you try and plug the hole, or you try and bail out, or you try and ignore it, or
Sink.
you try and paddle faster, or you just let the canoe fill up with water. These are all various, if you apply the same metaphor to going over your threshold to overwhelm and upheaval, there are a lot of various ways that we deal with that overwhelm.
I can see that.
And addictive behaviors, as they would be called, like overdrinking, overeating, drugs, sex, exercise, shopping, any of those things are just ways to divert your attention from the present moment and the inherent pain that goes with just being a human being and being alive from moment to moment, which is also a beautiful experience.
It is.
But it can be very intense.
Oh, it's very intense. And not only that, but I find, it's like I have to make a recognition like, okay, you cannot add anything else to your schedule. No more, Stace, because this is addictive behavior. It is. Or, checking my phone or checking my email or, I've started to go, okay, just because we're at a stoplight doesn't mean you check your email or voicemail right now. Actually, just be in the moment.
Right.
And I'm sort of, and I'm sure that this goes along with being an Enneagram 7, but I'm always thinking about the future, thinking about, my goals, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And so I've really started to say, okay, I'm just going to stay right here now.
Right.
Like I know that the future is taking care of itself. I've already put my juju out there. I'm just going to let this go. I'm just going to be here now. And I find that that's been very successful for me lately. And when I say lately, I mean like in the past 2 days.
We will be provided for.
Absolutely.
We will be taken
Well,
care
I mean,
of.
look at my whole life. I mean, I'm so blessed.
Right.
Blows my effing mind. Blows my effing mind. Hey, guess what?
So what all are we going to, what?
I bet this is Andy Dooley calling us
Oh,
right now.
Andy Dooley.
So, yeah, hold on.
Hey guys, you're listening to Social Penetration. Give us a call at 303-352-7424 and join the conversation.
Okay, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Oh, that's so great. I'm so glad that you called in. Right now joining us tonight is Andy Dooley. He is Thoughts Are Things. Is that your tagline? What would you consider your tagline?
My tagline would be feeling first, manifestation second.
Feeling first, manifestation second. By the way, the response to my Facebook and my emails and my Twitter when I said that you were going to be on the show was outstanding. People love you. People adore you. Yeah. No. So we have Andy Dooley is joining us on the phone tonight in studio. We also have I'm Stacey McDonald, of course, the host of Social Penetration, and also in the studio that you didn't meet last time you called is Aaron Howell, who is he also owns Heavy Mental Coaching.
Yeah. And
he's also the co-host here at Social Penetration Radio. So
hi, Andy. I've heard a lot about you.
Hey, Aaron Howell. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
So what's going on tonight, Andy? What do you got for us?
What do I got? I got lots of goodies.
Okay.
Something that happened today, which is really cool, and I thought maybe we could touch on it or hear each other's ideas on it.
Awesome.
Was online. I've created a Vibe Tribe community, and one of my Vibe Tribe members, their mother recently passed.
Oh.
Like last night, I think.
Okay, and it was
so
a mother that they liked.
Yes, it was a mother.
Just to clarify.
Right. That's a big thing.
Gotta make sure.
Right.
And she, posted, and then she posted, she posted on, just letting everybody know so we could all share and talk about it.
Sure.
And she also posted an Abraham Hicks video about grieving and someone making their transition into non-physical. And it was interesting how the conversation started to get split between, grieving. Yes, you should grieve. It's a process. You should go through it. And in Abraham's video, they said, there's no need to grieve. If you want to grieve, go ahead and grieve. But it's really a focus thing. If you focus on the loss and what you're missing out on and opportunities, and now you're alone or you don't have that person in your life, then of course, because of the beliefs you hold, you can grieve. Or if you look at the same situation and say, this is a celebration. Oh my God, my mom made her transition. It's a beautiful thing. And then you can celebrate it. So it all comes down to the individual beliefs the person's holding, whether this is a good thing or a bad thing.
Right. Or, I also look at it in the, don't be sad that the party is over. Be happy that it ever was. Is something that I sort of like to hold on to.
Absolutely.
I remember, this sounds so pathetic, but my dog one time was diagnosed with bone cancer. And the minute, my dog was diagnosed, I sobbed my face off. And my dog is just sitting there looking at me, like cock-headed, like, dude, what happened? Like, we had such a fun life together. You're normally such a freaking blast. And then I was like, wow, what a sucky way for my dog to spend the rest of his life, to look at me in this pathetic state. Okay, if I'm going to have my pity party, I'm going to do it after my dog's dead. And then when my dog transitioned, I actually felt pretty good about it, especially since I brought my highest and best self to the final 3 months of my dog's life. Who knew?
Nice.
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, that's cool. Aaron loves Vibe Tribe, by the way. Who doesn't love Vibe Tribe?
I like Vibe Tribe. That's good. It sounds a lot cooler than Mastermind, or like Think Tank.
Yeah, it's going great. People love it. The sharing, the collaborating, resources, all that stuff. I do two videos a week for the tribe and just kind of talk about what's happening in the tribe and challenges. It's a blast.
It is a blast. And speaking of blast, your activation jams that you have once a month, they're a blast. I had a very awesome time at the first one that you had last month.
Jam?
So why don't you tell Aaron what an activation jam is? By the way, you were out of town.
Oh,
okay. And I did tell you, I started to tell you about it. Then you told me you were out of town. So Andy will tell you.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So every month we get together at the Holiday Inn in Denver, and it's just a 2-hour jam where spiritual people who are into law of attraction, metaphysics, coaching come out, and it's kind of like a social thing. So you get to meet and greet some other people who, because sometimes people on the spiritual path of the journey can isolate themselves, and they just, like when you get out of your house and meet some people. And so it's partly a social, and then it's partly, let's laugh and have fun with this stuff and stop taking it so seriously. And then let's learn some real practical, simple tools you can start applying immediately into your life.
And by the way, Andy is hilarious. I mean, no, you are hilarious. And I always say that the tagline for this show is where entertainment meets enlightenment. That is why you are perfect to come on this show, because you don't take enlightenment so seriously.
Which a lot of people in the people in the personal development or like human potential movement or whatever you want to call it can be a real bummer. They can be for people who are talking about, enlightenment and finding spiritual paths to joy and everything, they can be a real buzzkill.
That's true. Okay, so last on when I went to your activation jam last time, we talked about a couple of things. We talked about the bliss train versus the bitch train.
Right.
So would you mind touching on that?
Yeah. So to simplify it, because I always like to make things simple and easy, because people can also make things way harder than they need to be, trying to figure out, the 9 levels of consciousness and the 6 human needs and your chakras. And it's like, all right, listen, there's 2 trains of thought. One is the bitch train and one is the bliss train. Like, which train are you going to get on today? And it's okay to get on the bitch train, but you can't stay on the bitch train. And most people don't realize that they're negatively thinking and negatively focused and just feeling like underneath it all. And that vibration goes out to the universe. And that's why people feel stuck and frustrated in their life, because of their negative thinking and focus and the story they've got going in their head.
Right.
Well, and one of the things that I loved that you said, and this is actually in one of your videos lately, is something about I want people that want something so bad, that
they block themselves from getting it.
Yeah, that vibration of wanting something so bad. Will you touch on that for us too?
Yeah, it's great to have a desire. Desire is a beautiful thing, and it's learning to come into alignment with it. So when you have something and you want it so bad, what you're really vibrating and holding the energy of is, I don't have it, where is it, what's wrong, what am I doing wrong,
Mm-hmm.
And that vibration is not the vibration, it's not the receiving mode.
Nope.
So you can't get it.
It's like, I think I may have shared this with you before, Stacy, and Andy, maybe you can, maybe this is putting it another way, is there's a sense of impatience to that vibration, which is basically, impatience is the fallacious belief, or spawns from the fallacious belief that what you desire will not come to pass.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Did you say fallacious?
Fallacious.
Fallacious.
Yeah.
Great word, man.
Well, Aaron is a smart MFer. Don't kid yourself. Yeah, we are enlightenment. We got over here. Of course, we're a little ribald every once in a while, too. One of the other things that was so great is we did an activity at the last Activation Jam where Andy asked us to find out what the story was that was blocking us from the thing that we want the most. And as an example, so, I love this radio show. When I'm done with school, I would love to syndicate and have this radio show go bat shit crazy, right? And it will. I know that this will. And but one of the things he said is, what's the story that you tell yourself that doesn't work for you. And in my case, and I'm just like, I know that this is huge disclosure, but I said, what makes you think you're so special?
Right.
Which is funny because intellectually, what makes me think I'm so special? Oh, that I'm so special. That's what makes me think I'm so special.
That's a pretty common one too. That,
Yeah.
you know, who do you think you are? Or that, you know, belief of I'm not good enough, that type of stuff.
Yeah. So what he did was he had us have a buddy that was sitting around us tell us our story back. So my buddy said to me, what makes you think you're so special? What makes you think that you have such a great personality that you just go out there and blah, 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 blah. And Andy, tell us what you taught us.
So when that negative bitch train story comes up and you hear it, so your buddy gives it to you, now you have the opportunity, and for most people, it's the first time in their life that they now have a tool to stop it. And so the phrase is stop, cancel, clear, get the fear or get the F out of here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it does. It feels really empowering. I mean, the woman that went on stage that night and shared her own story, I mean, she looked like she, I don't have any problems with the F-bomb at all. It's my friend. And I actually try to watch my language here on the radio just because I feel like it makes me somewhat of a better person, but in real life, that doesn't happen at all. But I think I'm just great, regardless of whether or not I say it. But the woman that was on stage looked like she was one of these people that had more trepidation about saying something, sort of balls out. And she was like, fuck off. Yeah. So it was pretty great.
Now, at the same time, and Andy, you can accept or reject this. I'd love to hear your feedback on this. Yeah. I would say that as far as the bitch train goes, all right, getting on it and taking the ride all the way and just staying on there, yeah, that does not serve us. That is unresourceful. At the same time, I think it's important to remember that the critical or doubtful the critical or doubtful, like, protector aspects of our personality are there to serve. They're there to serve. And I personally am a proponent of upgrading those aspects and figuring out different ways that those bitchy, naysaying aspects of our personality can be honored and put to better use, rather than just denying them, pushing them away, rejecting them, and creating resentment and mutiny within our own psyche.
Okay, so give me an example.
Okay, so for example, if I have a thing that keeps coming up that is making me resistant to doing something,
okay,
like if I don't want to make a phone call for my music business or something like that, or I don't want to send an email because I feel like I'm going to get rejected or they're not going to read it anyway or something like that. It's never going to work out. So then I would go, okay, I want to talk. I would do an active imagination type of script thing.
Okay.
Where I would go, all right, I want to talk to the part of me that doesn't think that I can have this. I want to talk to the part of me that is trying to prevent me from doing this.
Okay.
What is your intention here? And it usually will be something like, well, to protect you from making a fool of yourself, to protect you from being rejected, to protect you from getting hurt. And I go, okay, I understand and I appreciate what you're trying to do. Well, here's an idea. How'd you like a promotion? Okay. How about you get my back and you just keep an eye out for real threats, real danger, real things that can happen to me. Help me decipher wise and poor decisions and help me to structure and create logistics around dreams and ideas that I have.
Okay.
And generally what I will find after doing that is that the anxiety that usually goes with that type of thinking dissipates.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think about that, Andy?
Aaron, I think it's great. And in my further, like, one-day full-on workshop, I do acknowledge that, those negative thoughts, acknowledge them. Hello, negative thoughts. Yes, I hear you. And I can find other thoughts too, such as, what could be, what's the good that could come from this? What would happen if it did work? Playing, feeding that negative train of thought, some other thoughts, some other possibilities. So it kind of gets quieted. So I agree. Yeah, you want to honor that. I mean, it's coming from somewhere, and so you don't want to just shove it under the carpet. And then look for what is good. Like, what are my strengths? What are some past successes where I did follow through and it did work? And so you're like, well, it did work here and it worked here, and well, maybe I need to just pull back and rework that letter or email and then send it, or send it when it feels really right and not rush it.
Right.
Awesome.
Cool.
Hey, Andy, when is your next workshop?
It is March 27th.
Is that your next activation jam, or that's your next workshop?
I'm sorry. Okay, that's my next activation jam.
You're
I'll
welcome.
be there, by the way.
You're welcome, Mr. Smarty Pants, for keeping you on track.
Cool.
Okay, so
Thanks.
excellent.
We should go.
We are
Stacey?
going.
Oh, we're
Yeah.
going then.
Okay.
She goes, we are going.
Oh yeah.
It's on.
Uh-huh. Excellent. I'll make sure that you get introduced to Aaron. He's
well,
awesome.
I really like this a lot, Andy. I got to tell you, because outside of, the friends that I talk to that I've made through, trainings that I've done and whatnot, the primary world that I live in, my specialty is working with artists and musicians and service workers. So
cool.
I work in the bar business and I work in the music business, and you don't tend to encounter a tremendous amount of, modern personal development type of people. And so oftentimes I don't get the opportunity to really, I come on the show with Stacey and we get to talk about this stuff, or I Skype with a fellow student from a training that I've done. But a lot of times I don't have the opportunity to really connect up with people who are kind of on that same wavelength. And I really commend you for putting that together. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, last time we had 140 people there, and
wow.
they're all on this kind of wavelength and into this and wanting more. And a lot of people have just gotten into a rut and kind of aren't using it, or just got caught up in life. And so they're like, this is why they need this jam session to come back into remembering, that they are powerful and they can create a better life for themselves.
Well, and fresh ideas and perspective as well. Being able to, hear something that you already know unconsciously, but you need to hear it from someone else.
Well, and just to let you know, or just to remind all of our listeners, we are on the air right now with Andy Dooley, who has an activation jam. It's once a month.
Right.
So we go once a month and remind ourselves to get on to vibrate.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on my calendar right now. March 27th,
March
right, Andy?
27th, Friday night, homie.
Yeah, 7 to 9.
7 to 9 p.m. And it's right by my house. Yeah, it is. It's pretty close to my house. Okay, so we have that going on. And then do you know how far out you have them planned? This month is the 27th. What do you have for next month? Do you know yet?
Yeah, April, I'm taking a trip to Bali with my brother Mike, and we're going to be doing some jamming over there. We've got about 50 people signed up.
Nice.
And we just adventure and jam. So April, I'm pretty much gone. And then Hay House is doing their big I Can Do It conference
in
at
Chicago?
the end of April. No, in Denver.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah, I Can Do It conference is
Right on.
April 24th through the 26th.
Nice.
And Mike is one of the keynote speakers
Right
there.
on.
So I won't be doing one in April.
Okay.
But real quick, anybody living in Ohio or Indiana, this weekend I'm doing a full-day workshop in Columbus, Ohio, and Indianapolis, Indiana.
Oh, wow. I actually have I have a great friend that lives in Indianapolis. I'll make sure that I post this to our Facebook page so that she can spread the word out there. I think that would be fantastic. And she's awesome.
Oh, good. She'd love it. It's a full-on 6-hour, workshop, and we jam, we laugh, the day flies by, and it really, really, it really shifts your vibration and the belief in yourself of possibilities.
It was so great when we went to the activation jam. I knew that it was going to be great just because your personality is so vibrant and you're just a funny and 2 hours, I have the attention span of a gerbil. So normally 2 hours seems like eternity to me. And it went by like that. And my girlfriend that came with me, she can't wait to go too. So she said that she was going to go every month that she is in town. She travels a ton. So yeah, she'll be going too. I'm spreading the word.
Thank you. I will post the link to on your social penetration page.
Nice.
And so it'll be there on the wall, and then you can say, hey, check this out.
Fantastic. And we can check Andy Dooley out at andydooley.com. And definitely don't forget to get your tickets for the activation jams every month. And when as more people find out about these, you were talking about doing them once a week, yes?
Yeah, eventually building up to a weekly jam session. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, and one of these days I'll take over for you. How about that?
Okay.
I'll when you're what do you call it?
Well, she's subtle, isn't she?
No, when you're out of town, I can keep the juju going.
That would be awesome.
No, it will be. It'll be super duper great. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me on, Stacey.
You're the
nice
best.
meeting you,
And-
Aaron.
Yeah, Andy, I'll see you at the activation.
He's going to
jam.
be here every week for the next 2 more weeks, right?
Okay, then I'll talk to you next week.
Is that cool?
Okay, we will do that.
Awesome. We'll see you next week. Thanks again, Andy.
Okay, bye.
Bye. The best.
Yeah, what a cool guy.
The best. Yeah.
And oh man, I like that activation jam thing. Sounds awesome.
He is hilarious. He's a stand-up comedian, and this law of attraction guy.
Hey, maybe he could come do the open mic at Three Kings, and then we can go over to the activation jam together.
That might be a blast.
There you go. It's just the same night.
Yeah.
And I usually work Friday nights, but I'm gonna have to figure out something to be able to do this.
And 140 people for the very first one.
That's amazing.
It was amazing. You know what, everybody? You are listening to Social Penetration right here on WCAS Radio. We're going to go to a little break. What do you think?
Yep, sounds good.
You are listening to WCAS Radio. 24/7 commercial-free music.
Excuse me?
Located in Central Room 108 in Auraria.
Kids spend a lot of time on all sort of ridiculous things. They'll spend all ages watching funny online videos or 197 straight minutes playing a video game about alien picnics, which means they can spend 2 minutes twice a day brushing their teeth. Tooth decay is the single most common chronic childhood disease. That's why brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain. To find out more, visit 2min2x.org. Visit 2min2x.org. 2 minutes twice a day, they have the time. A message from the partnership of Healthy Mouth, Healthy Lives, the Ad Council, and by WCAS Radio.
If you're a parent, you can't help but look at your child and wonder what the future holds. You may dream about the possibility of your son or daughter becoming a professional athlete or maybe a renowned heart surgeon. But while you're dreaming, consider this. The odds that your child will be diagnosed with autism are 1 in 88. Knowing the signs of autism and catching it early can make a world of difference to your child and to you. To learn the signs, visit autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Aid Council. WCAS cares when it counts.
It takes 12 years to create a graduate. It takes the same time to create a dropout. And the difference could be you. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor. Because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Take the pledge at unitedway.org and make a difference in the life of a child. A public service message brought to you by the United Way and the Ad Council. WCAS cares when it counts.
As a parent, you can't help but look at your child and wonder what the future holds. You may dream about the possibility of your son or daughter becoming a professional athlete or a renowned heart surgeon. But while you're dreaming, consider this. The odds that your child will be diagnosed with autism are 1 in 88. Knowing the signs of autism and catching it early can make a world of a difference to your child and to you. To learn the signs, visit autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council and WCAS Radio.
Today, nearly 17 million kids struggle with hunger, and without free school lunches, many of them will miss meals this summer. But even though the school year might end, free meals for your kids don't have to. If your child relies on free or reduced price school lunches, Feeding America can help provide them with food this summer. Help your kids stop worrying about food and start focusing on fun. Visit feedingamerica.org/summer meals to find your local food bank for help. Once again, that's feedingamerica.org/summer meals. Together, we're Feeding America. This message is brought to you by Feeding America, the Ad Council, and WCAS Radio.
Monsters. They could be living under the bed or in the bathtub, on the dresser, even on the kitchen counter. For a child with asthma, it can seem like monsters are everywhere. The fact is, their next asthma attack could be triggered by something as innocent as a teddy bear or a dripping faucet, even the toys in your bathtub. And it's up to you to make their monsters go away. Fortunately, there are simple ways you can help. From putting stuffed animals in the freezer for a few hours to kill dust mites, to drying bath toys and turning on the bathroom fan to prevent mold, keeping pets out of the bedroom to reduce dander, and wiping up food crumbs that can attract pests. They're easy to do, and they're part of a complete plan that can help put an end to your child's asthma attacks. Learn more at noattacks.org or call 1-866-NO-ATTACKS. because their next breath is in your hands. Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
Sit back and get ready to rock Auraria style. WCAS Auraria, always jamming from Central 108 and always online at wcas.msudenver.edu. College radio off the dial.
Hey, buddy.
And you're listening to Social Penetration, where entertainment meets enlightenment. It's on WCAS Radio, Central 108, happening, right?
She charges $50 a pie.
$50 a pie?
Mm-hmm. She made like, I don't know, like a couple $1,000.
We're talking about these. Oh, by the way, you're listening to Social Penetration on WCAS. I'm Aaron Howell from Heavy Mental Coaching.
I'm Stacey McDonald.
Yeah.
Daymaker.
Daymaker extraordinaire.
I am a daymaker, though.
You are. That's your thing.
It is my thing.
That's your that is your why. That is your why in life.
Don't you think?
Daymaker.
Don't you think?
You should put that on all your business cards.
I did.
You did?
Yeah. Have you not seen my business cards?
No, I
haven't. Hold on, I'll
get
it.
Cards. No, okay. So Stacey got me these. If you're just joining us, Stacey gave me a very sweet birthday gift. She gave me a Kindle. Oh, yeah, there you go. She gave me a Kindle. I'm gonna hold on to this. She gave me a Kindle. She gave me some Bosom Buddy booby ointment stuff from the sex party. She gave me some awesome shave cream, which is ironic because I have a big homeless guy beard. And then she gave me these cookies made by your cousin or
my niece.
Your niece.
My niece. My niece.
Mm-hmm. Your niece came in and
she lives in California.
And they've got little microphones and amplifiers and Nietzsche quotes on them. And one of them says happy birthday, Aaron, on them. But they're like really, really good cookies.
They're so good.
They're really good. And she was saying that she charges $50 a pie.
Yeah.
$50 a pie.
I know. Well, here's a funny thing. Okay. The way that she started this business. Now, first of all, Aubrey taught high school in LA Unified School District.
Oh, wow.
And Aubrey is brilliant. I mean, she's just a brilliant, brilliant person. And I'm not saying that because she's my niece. I would love her even if she wasn't super beautiful and super brilliant and super kind and loving and creative.
Tell me more about her. Tell me more about her.
Well, and not only that, but she's married and she's like,
good,
so
good
great
for him.
I know. Look at your
Good
face.
for him.
Right.
No, that's great. So happy you're happy. No,
I'll make sure that you guys are friends on Facebook.
No, thank you so much for the cookies. They're great.
So it was really funny because I kept telling her, if you don't want to teach school anymore because she hated it, you should bake. And she was like, oh, Aunt Stace, I'm just not a business owner. It's just not my gig. And I'm like, I get it. Like it's not everybody's deal. So let's think of some other idea.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm like, you do love to bake. So why don't you just send out messages to people that you know and just tell them that you'll bake for them and then charge them, like if their office needs, muffins or whatever on Fridays, give that a shot. So like her real estate agent and referred her, I think, to like an insurance agent. And so the insurance agent like sends these to all of his people and her real estate agent. Like, okay. So then she was like, wow, I need to like legitimately get my stuff together. So, she had to like get packaging for, the state of California, and Los Angeles County is where she lives. And so she was only doing it around town. And then more and more people wanted her stuff. And so she started to ship because it was such a big deal, right? But then people wanted pies, and she makes the most amazing things. But this is not her dream thing. Although this is like what she did for you is her favorite thing. When she knows somebody loves somebody else and she's given that task to like do something for them, she goes crazy. You should see the cookies she made for Heather, all these fly fishing things.
Oh, yeah.
Like she did like the little flies, like, oh, they were amazing. And then Heather's friend had breast cancer, and Aubrey made all of these like beautiful cookies and then wrote like a really heartfelt note in there to her friend, saying, what an inspiration, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, Aubrey is just an amazing person. So how crazy. Hey, I don't really want to start my own business. Oh, wait, now I charge $50 a pie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, the cookies are great.
JoyRisingBakery.com.
Speaking of addictions and cravings.
Oh, I know, right? Speaking of addictions and cravings.
So what are we going to cover today?
Okay,
Stace?
so what we're going to talk about, we're going to be talking about addiction. And Meredith is going to come into the studio.
Cool.
Meredith Fisher. And she is my professor for my cravings and addiction class.
Who I haven't seen in several years.
She said like 10 years.
Yeah, I haven't seen her in a very long time.
You know, she looks like Katherine Heigl.
She does look like Katherine
And
Heigl.
all the boys in the class like that a lot.
She's a babe.
Yeah, they like that a lot.
She's a babe supreme.
She is a babe
If
supreme.
she was a natural wonder of the world, she would be the Hanging Gardens of Babylon.
Yep. And hold on. Something I forgot what of the other
she
ones.
was
I've seen that movie.
If she was a president, she'd be Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, that's right. She would be Abraham Lincoln. So we're going to be talking about all different kinds of addictions, not just to substances, but also to behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to go through just some, like how you and I were talking about that we don't really buy into the, what do you call it, disease?
The disease model.
And I think that she might. I don't really know. She doesn't really say in class.
I mean, keep in mind, my credentials are I have a GED. Like that's what I have as far as like diplomas or any type of education is
Which
concerned.
is so awesome because you're one of the wisest people I know.
Oh, thank you very
Period.
much.
You are.
Well, okay, and that's aside from, coaching certifications and things that I have. So I will say right out that I don't have a ton of the scientific knowledge behind addiction. I just know that in my experience, when I was on probation, and I was in trouble and was told that I couldn't drink, and they put me into court-ordered therapy, and they put me into court-ordered education, and they required me to go to AA, and I went to various other avenues for treatment, for addiction treatment. My rate of relapse and recidivism was far greater and far more frequent. When I got off probation and I made the decision on my own, after I got off probation, I only drank for a month. And then I went to my coach and I said, I want to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And what we did was she didn't assign me to go to AA meetings. She didn't assign me any type of, you need to go to rehab or you need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
We took it week by week. We had a contract and we worked on the aspects of my identity. We worked on all of the logical levels of therapy, from the most global being my vision and identity and the like bigger kind of fuzzier stuff, all the way down to specific action steps that I was going to take. And I'm proud to say I haven't had a drop of alcohol. I mean, aside from stuff that I've tasted at work behind the bar, when I'm bartending, tasting a drink that I make or tasting a new beer or something like that. I haven't drank in, 13 months?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is 13 months.
It is 13 months.
Because it was February 3rd.
It was Super Bowl Sunday, 2014.
Is that right? February 3rd?
Yeah.
Because that's my half birthday.
Yeah. February 3rd, 2014 was the last day that I got drunk.
That was the day that I was 42 and a half years old.
Oh. So that's interesting. My sobriety date is your half birthday.
Indeed.
Interesting.
I know, right?
Interesting.
I know. We are soul brother and sister. It is crazy.
Synchronicity. Like a mofo.
And I'm finding the same thing for myself is not necessarily, it's not a coach. Mine is actually she calls herself a recovery counselor, not an addictions counselor, because one is.
Oh, I wasn't aware of this.
That I go to a therapist every Friday.
I didn't know this.
For an hour and a half.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Okay. So I'll tell you the story. And actually Meredith knows the story because I wrote my paper on it. When I first quit, I thought, okay, I'm sure a bunch of stuff's going to come up. So I need, to go to counseling. So I was going to this counselor, and I actually, my counselor has to be as smart or smarter than me.
Right.
Okay. Well, that wasn't my first counselor. She was not as smart I was definitely smarter. And not only that, but I ended up kind of counseling her in our sessions. So, but she was really adamant that I needed to go to meetings, that preferably the 90 days, 90 meetings in 90 days thing. And I said, actually, I think that 12 step is bullshit. And I'm not going to do that.
For some people.
Mhm.
For some people.
For me.
Yeah. You and I, like from a spiral dynamics perspective, you and I are definitely functioning in a way of thinking more at like values level 5, values level 6, values level 7 type of thinking.
Right.
And people who are more like values level 4, they really like structure. They like rules. They like guidelines. They like books to work off of. And that helps.
Now, you know that it helps less than 5% of the population.
Yeah. I know.
Okay. So, and I knew this too. So I was like, I'm not going down that road because it works for 5% of the population. Not only that, but when I quit, I got the task of writing. I had just got a paper assignment in abnormal psychology, and to take someone that you knew, make a diagnosis from the DSM-5, and then lay out a treatment plan. Okay, so I did myself. And they don't call it alcoholism anymore. They call it alcohol use disorder, because you can abuse potato chips. You know what I mean? Like, lots of people can use alcohol normally. I was using it. I was abusing. They don't even call it alcohol abuse.
No, alcoholism is a term created by like Bill Williamson and Dr. Bob, right? Or
Right.
Dr. Bill or Dr.
Whatever. I think Bill. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that was now those were the same. That was the same era. You know, they were doing the best they could with the information they had at the time. But that was during the same era that, you know, homosexuality and PMS were considered forms of hysteria.
Right.
You know, like, or
reefer madness.
Yeah. You know, things like that, or it's like, we don't know what to do.
Right.
So the treatment program was basically like, you know, doctors, psychiatry was kind of baffled by alcoholism. They're like, we really don't know what to do. So they turned it over to people with, you know, who were in the infancy of 12 steps. And hey, and by the way, if you're listening out there and I'm completely off base, please feel free to send us an email
or give us a call
at 303-352-7424. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. But from what my understanding is that a lot of the field of substance abuse treatment at the time was pretty much like that area was dominated by people who were in that model of therapy.
Yeah. And well, and to
this day as well.
Now there is an element of, and this is also an element in religion, that is successful for people that are addicted, or even people that are just trying to get happier lives. And what that is that it's a community.
Right. We've talked about this.
Right. So it's not so much that the 12-step program is necessarily healthier for them. It's the fact, and not women so much, because women actually don't have as many problems forming these bonds with other people. But for men specifically, the effectiveness of a 12-step program is more for men because it gives them a sense of community that they don't usually get easily.
Like the Freemasons.
Right. Yeah.
A fraternal brotherhood.
Exactly. That's where the element that makes it the most successful. Now, okay, so I had this counselor, and as a matter of fact, I was going to these other meetings, and they were called Women for Sobriety. And I would go to those meetings, and there were only like 12 people there, and it was more focused on women and self-esteem and self-worth and that kind of thing. And I ended up counseling pretty much all the women in there, including the leader. So my counselor, she kept telling me, you need to get rid of all of your friends. And I'm like, I am the biggest drinker of all of my friends. I mean, I am that person. It's more miraculous that that those guys have me as friends, because I'm such a ship show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how lucky am I, right? I mean, really, that's pretty amazing. And I must have some redeeming quality. We're still digging. And she kept saying, you need to find people that are also sober so that you can go find things to do. And I'm like, I don't have a shortage, not only of things to do, but healthy things. Like I walk my dog every day with one of my girlfriends. I, do yoga. I meditate. I mean, I just feel like I have healthy things that I love to hike.
Right.
I love to go camping. You know what I mean?
Right.
I have that stuff going on. So she kept saying that. And I'm like, I just think that you're not getting me because I don't need more stuff. As a matter of fact, I feel like if I have more stuff, that's just feeding into that addiction that I have to make myself so busy.
Right.
So I just ended our relationship. And she told me, ending the relationship meant that I was just in denial. You know what I mean?
Right.
That-
No, pretty. I mean,
yeah, standard.
look, I'm sorry to say this, but that's pretty typical from like people who are like 12-step blue book thumpers.
Yeah.
And hey, they're doing the best they can, and we're all doing the best we can, and I get it, and I totally dig it. But I ran into the same issue where I've run into people and simply by challenging and just going like, look, I appreciate what you're trying to help me with. I just disagree with you.
Right.
And then
that,
it becomes,
but they
you know what? You're full of shit, and you're in denial, and you'll be back, and this, that, and the other. And it's like, that's not helping me.
And the
man.
fact that you're in denial, the fact that you're leaving me has nothing to do with my quality of counseling. It's that you're in denial.
Not even quality, compatibility and congruence.
Right, totally.
We don't share the same values. We don't share the same beliefs. We don't have the same vision for my recovery.
Right. And so what ended up happening was that woman, though, said, her last thing that she said to me was, you really need to contact this place called Beyond Betty. And it's women in recovery that just have different activities that they do together and whatever. Right. So I didn't contact them for that reason. I contacted them to say, hey, I need a new counselor. And this is the kind of person I am. I love yoga. I love hiking. I love camping. I don't need to get rid of my friends. My friends barely drink. Now that I don't drink, I realize my friends barely drink. I used to think they were lushes. I'm like, oh, that
they
was
were just
me.
trying to keep up with Stacy.
Right, exactly. And so that was an issue. I just told them all of it. They referred me to a woman. Her name is Colleen McKiernan and she's on Colfax and Lafayette. And part of her counseling program, first of all, it's not one size fits all for anyone. Some people she does do 12-step with. She doesn't do that with me at all. As a matter of fact, when I told her, I'm like, I go to these meetings and I just end up counseling everybody. And she goes, that's because they're vibrating at a lower level. You need to quit going to those meetings. Okay. That was my counselor.
Mm-hmm.
So the other piece of it is that she does, as part of her practice, there's yoga and Tai Chi and meditation.
Right.
Okay. So I don't partake in those because I just do them on my own, but people can go there to like groups and take Tai Chi and yoga and stuff like that. So I love her and I just think that she's the bomb. And the name of her practice is Recovering Spirit.
See, that's right up your alley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally up my alley. And somebody else would be like woo woo.
I've had therapists that I like and therapists that I didn't like. I had one who I had a, I don't know, I guess what you would call a nervous breakdown. I had an episode probably 4 or 5 years ago, and I started seeing a therapist through my parents' policy. My dad's a Denver police officer. Okay, so they get free therapy because they're cops and they see some stuff. You know what I mean? So I started seeing this guy, and he starts walking me through this stuff, and he just calls it mindfulness breathing. You know what I mean? Oh my goodness.
Hey!
Meredith is here.
How are you? Excellent.
And so he's calling it mindfulness breathing. And then I come out of it and I'm like, this guy's teaching me to meditate.
Right.
Like that was the whole thing. And unfortunately he ended up moving, but I got a guy through Jefferson County Mental Health Services.
Okay.
And he was the lamest, most sterile, boring. Like he did not help me one bit. Then I found Dr. Bev. And I've been with her almost 2 years now, simply like because of the fact that I like her so much and, she digs what I'm doing and I've been sober as a result.
Right on.
Which wouldn't have happened otherwise. And I need to give you a hug.
In case you're wondering what's going on here on Social Penetration on WCAS Radio, Meredith Fisher just walked in the house. Okay. And how's your mic sound? Can you hear yourself?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Nice. You like
Good.
that? I know. Did you even know this was here on campus?
I didn't.
Isn't it amazing?
Yes.
Hold on, I'm all wait, what am I doing? Oh, here, let's
Oh,
switch.
I have to confess that the last thought I had before you picked me up, Stacy, was, I totally have a joint on my desk at home. And I was like, we should burn one and then talk about, talk about addictions and cravings,
That
go
sounds
on.
like, no, it's,
And by the way, I should mention that a joint takes me a month to smoke. Like
no.
it takes me a very long time to get through.
I should
I have
mention
no tolerance.
that, okay, so let's talk about this because this was one of the issues I wanted to talk about. Okay, I can get weed whenever I want. My buddy owns a dispensary. Not my drug of choice. Don't care about it at all. Okay, so I had apparently copious amounts of hash. And I didn't know that it was copious amounts because it just looked like this much.
Yeah.
Times
just a little
10,
ball.
like, and they were just like at my house. And when I used to drink, actually, and when I would have a wicked hangover, I'd smoke it to get over my hangover.
Right.
But then, when I was done getting hangovers, I was like, well, who really cares? So, and sometimes I would even forget I had it. So I wouldn't smoke it when I had a hangover. So I would just suffer. Right. I ended up giving it to my nephews. They're in their 20s. They could have got it anyway. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
They're like, you're the best.
I know, but you're welcome, sisters. But with that said, okay, so we were just talking about like recovery models and addiction model and disease model and all this other stuff. But one of the things that I was thinking the other day was, okay, so I'm not like in a 12-step program. What I have, it works for me. I go to counseling for an hour and a half every week, and I love my counselor. And as a matter of fact, she was like, don't really go to the meetings that you were going to because I ended up counseling all the people at the meetings. And she's like, not the right meeting for you.
Okay.
Yeah. She's like, maybe if there's like some sort of Buddhist, like how you were talking about the Buddhist 12-step thing or whatever.
Yeah. The One Breath at a Time is the name of the book. And it was very insightful.
Mm-hmm.
It was very insightful. And at the same time, I just, the 12-step model, it doesn't jive with me.
Yeah, me neither.
There was a lot of aspects in it that I really do appreciate and I really dug.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue that I have trouble with is in the disease model, it's treated like, okay, there is this thing necessarily outside of me that controls me. It's basically like, well, I can't do that because I have this disease. I have this addiction. Look at this thing that I have. Look at look at this deformity, this this malady that I have. Look at this problem that I have. And they look at it and they they want everybody to kind of, be like, oh, well, he is an alcoholic, he has a problem, he has an issue. And instead of taking responsibility for it and being like, okay, this is a way of thinking and acting that I need to reel in and get in check, that at one point served a higher positive intention and I have outgrown that behavior.
Right.
So it's time to start making some changes upstairs, start making some changes inside and alter that, take responsibility and empower myself. And I found Alcoholics Anonymous. I found even LifeRing. I even to a certain degree found Rational Recovery to be a little bit like, and even no, Rational Recovery, not as much so, but just to be a little disempowering. That's just my experience. And I said that in meetings before and almost got chased out with pitchforks and torches.
It's funny that you say that about Rational Recovery because there I am again, like going, oh my God, like you don't have your kids anymore. You don't have well, shit. I just used to wake up with headaches, man.
Yeah.
You're like, you guys are kind of freaking me out. Like I don't have like this kind of ship show in the rest of my life, So that was kind of where I was at. Also, I had one, and I think I wrote about this in my paper. I had one counselor that was like, you need to find more things to do with sober people. And my counselor now is like, you don't need to find, you don't add anything else to your schedule until May. Like you already have too much stuff to do.
Well, didn't you say you already have a lot of friends that really don't drink
I know.
anyway? So
I
they're
don't.
pretty supportive of you that way. The thing I absolutely love about 12-step programs is that, a lot of people don't have the community. When they stop doing drugs, they have, people that they used to do drugs with or alcohol with or whatnot. And that's what they have. And a lot of the time your families are rife with it too. So, you don't have anywhere to go and anybody to rely on. So there's
Mhm.
no real accountability for a lot of folks. And so you get into these programs, and if it's the right one, and I would really suggest that you don't like just go to one 12-step program and make, your
Mhm.
final decision
No, no,
on whether or not you
and
like
I do
them.
think that my counselor is right, though, that one that's like matches like a Buddhist sort of mentality is going to be great for me. And we're waiting for one over in the Northwest
Yeah.
side to come back up. The other one, it actually happens during the show every Wednesday. So as
Right,
soon as
right.
that happens, I'm cool. But I'm also kind of manifesting that doesn't happen until May because I don't have any more time.
So,
Yeah.
well, here's
Oh, go
I
ahead.
I want to hear Meredith, like where you sit on that debate on the 12-step versus non-12-step
See, I
debate.
think so. Where I sit is that, obviously there's different things that'll work for different people.
Uh-huh.
The main thing is that if you feel distressed enough to realize, okay, there's a problem happening in my life that I need to, abstain or, reduce or whatnot, and you start to understand that about yourself. Because I mean, people can come into your life and tell you have to do it, and it's just not going to happen
Right.
until you get it right.
Aaron was
So-
just talking about that. I'll have him update you before, but keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, at that point, certainly you want to get into some kind of treatment.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on how much support you have in your life,
Mm-hmm.
as far as sober people that will want to hang out with you and do
Right.
fun things with you and whatnot, and do stuff that you're not used to doing, introduce you to new stuff and whatnot, and be accountable and be there, really good friends or family members that you can call no matter what.
Mhm.
Then I'd say maybe perhaps 12-step, you wouldn't necessarily need that as part of your treatment. But if in fact, you don't have any of that, it may be really useful for you to get involved
The
because
structure and community.
The community is
Absolutely.
huge.
I used to, work at a treatment center and go to these, I would take my clients to these meetings, and I almost was jealous. Like, why can't I have this community? Why can't
I'd be a coke addict.
why can't I have all these friends? And you know what I mean? It was like so, and you said you lost power, but for me, it was empowering. It was a place where people could be accountable and that they could actually talk about their story. Because here's the thing is, like, a lot of people stuff things.
Uh-huh.
And that's the problem that you get into is, and what gets you into drugs a lot of the time and alcohol in the first place is because you're stuffing. And so if you have a place, a community where you can actually let that stuff out, and actually have people that like, oh yeah, I totally know what you're talking about, then you don't feel so alone. So I'd
Right.
say it can be a really awesome part of your treatment program.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Hey, are you Arturo? What's up, homie? Good. Hey, Arturo, what's your last name? Hernandez. Welcome. Hola, ¿cómo está usted? I would say, lo siento, mi español es apestoso. It's stinky.
muy bien.
Yeah, exactly. And everybody's like, well, that was pretty good. You want to hold on? Hop on the mic. Okay. So, hold on. I'm trying to think of what I lost my train of thought. Welcome, by the way, everybody. You've just missed because this is radio. What's going on? Oh, look at you two lovebirds. Is that not Totes Adorbs?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, you're
Oh, my
pulling an
goodness.
audible here.
Sorry.
Yeah,
no,
no, that's
okay.
fine.
So,
Yes,
Arturo
Shelley, you
just
embarrassed
came.
me in front of all these
You're welcome.
lovely people.
You're welcome, everybody. No. Meredith's significant other, her novio, just joined us in the studio. I don't know. Did I just make that up? Totally sounded great.
It was good.
How's everybody doing?
Excellent. Don't you love the way you sound on the? Well, you actually sound good. I sound just as annoying on radio as I do in real life. Luckily, I have such a bloated, overgrown sense of self-worth that I just don't seem to care. But what we were talking about 12-step programs and things like that. You were saying that when you were on probation and you had like all these court-ordered.
I was really recalcitrant. I was really defiant, and I didn't like being told what to do. I don't like rules, and
I love them.
And
same way.
Well, and here's the
Same
thing.
way.
I felt when I was going to Phoenix Multisport for a while to do their yoga, because it's a sober gym, and as long as you have made a sobriety agreement that you at least have 48 hours, you can go there and you can take classes for free and hang out.
I heard that.
And I would go to
I like it.
meetings, and I was going to meetings for a little bit.
My counselor
And
told me to go.
the reason I stopped going is because my experience, and this is just my experience, maybe I was going to the wrong meetings. I felt that a lot of the people were culty
Okay.
and invasive.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, the truth is, I just wanted to change my behavior. I just wanted to change my thinking. I wanted to be able to have an active part in my recovery as opposed to just let go and let God and you know, do the steps. And I mean, I do a lot of work with my coach. I've done a lot of work. I've done a lot of homework, but it's all been about exploring myself. It's all been about getting to know why I'm doing things. It's all been very like it's been a process of self-discovery. And I didn't feel that. I didn't experience that with 12-step programs.
Well, and it's funny that you say that too, because I'm like a very introspective person. So the thing that I found when I first, you know, got sober is I'd, you know, do my little meditations and sit with my feelings and be like, wow, I'm really overwhelmed that I have to be mature. Like that blew my effing mind that I was now responsible for everything that ever goes on for the rest of my natural effing born life. Okay. Hold on. Dude, I own a house. Actually, I own 2 houses. I have a car. I mean, I have a dog. He gets massage and acupuncture. He is alive. And he's 10 years old and I've had him since a puppy. So, I mean, it's not, you know, I'm alive. You know, like I have a roof over my head. I can have friends. I mean, so far, so good. You know, it's not like
responsibility's working out for you.
Right.
Self-responsibility.
And I'm like, why am I so overwhelmed with it? And even all my friends, so when I find out something about myself, you know, God forbid, I actually just keep it inside. No thoughts do not come out of this pie hole. It's true. Is that not right?
Right.
Okay. So I have to tell everyone I know. I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I'm overwhelmed that I have to take care of myself for the rest of my natural born life. All my friends go, dude, seriously? You're doing pretty good. Like, you're good, buddy. I mean, like, yeah, you like volunteer, you vote. You know what I mean? Like,
you're doing, you're existing. You're being a person. You're
Right.
okay.
And actually, I would say that that part of you is actually what is part of what is keeping you on check with yourself. Because if you're able to, explore your feelings and explain your feelings and, get feedback and whatnot, that's, half the battle, really.
Right.
And that allows you to be able to process or reprocess.
Well, and that's why also my counselor was like, there's a point where we get people sober and then there's a point where they go through recovery. She sort of makes a delineation. And I hate the word sober because it means serious. And I'm like, I ain't serious. I ain't doing that. But she said, I already look at you as more getting, she's like, because your level of introspection, so many people have never done that.
Right.
That she's like, yeah, my first meeting and I'm sitting here going, okay, so blah, 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 blah. And these are the things I want to work on. And she's like, yeah, we're a little bit further down the road than we are. I don't know where I had all the time. Like, I think I thought about this stuff even when I was shiphoused.
Mhm.
I did. I was like,
I mean, so if you think about it though, because you guys obviously are on one side of the fence as far as, I don't think 12-step is right for me.
Mhm.
But, we have experiences every day where we make decisions on something if something is right for us. Like we go to a grocery store. I don't like this grocery store. I'm going to go to a different grocery store, right? And so that's the same kind of perspective that you want to take when you're exploring your recovery.
Right.
You don't want to go with the first counselor that you see if it's not working. You don't want to, you don't want to continue with that.
It's not black and white.
Yeah. You don't want to go to the, stay with the first meeting. You want to explore, okay, what meetings actually fit my personality? Is there a younger group? Is there a group that's maybe, not secular, not, using God or whatnot, if that's not what you believe, or if you do believe that, is there, is there a group that will really like help me to maintain my faith through this? Is there, you don't want to just walk in a group and be like, this is it, because it may not be. Just like a church. You wouldn't want to just choose a church because it was next door to your house. You want to choose a church that actually fits well with, something
I always say
about
church
every week.
I always say about church, why sleep there when I could sleep at home?
Yeah.
And I do believe in, just for the record, like I believe in quote unquote God, like a higher power, all of that stuff. I just don't.
I would
why sleep there when I could sleep at home.
I would say that it all comes down to results. It all comes down to like actual outcomes that are happening. And if people are going to meetings and it's keeping them sober and it's keeping them and it's helping them manage their lives and teaching them skills and if it's helping them, if it's getting them the results they want, then absolutely great. go to meetings.
Mhm.
That
Agreed.
wasn't my experience.
Good.
And,
Well,
and
then
yeah, it wasn't my experience.
But I love it that
And
you're here to tell our listeners that it, especially the community part.
Yeah, because I see it work, and the
Mhm.
community is so strong. I mean, if you get in the right group, of
Mhm.
course, every community is going to be different. It's going to be totally different values, totally different way of like being with each other. And so you don't go into one meeting and it's the same as the next. I've never.
Maybe we
been-
start a meeting.
I'm good. Thank you.
No, I think that might be a good idea.
It's always a different feeling every time I step into a new meeting with
Mhm.
in a different community. So it's totally different, and it doesn't always help everybody, but it helps so many people. It can be a really great part of your recovery. And I would never recommend only doing 12-step because there's other pieces of the puzzle that you want to actually address. And I would always recommend that you see somebody that, is qualified to be able to help you work through cognitively, what it is, those thoughts and that lead to those behaviors that lead to the consequences, thinking through all the way from the beginning to the end, someone who can help you to work through that stuff. Because here's what happens after a little while. We're sober and we think we're doing just fine, and we get onto what's called a pink cloud. Okay?
I've heard
and we
this a
start
lot of
messing
times.
messing with ourselves. Okay, oh, I can just have that one cigarette, or oh, I can just have that one drink because I've been so good. Right?
See, I don't feel that way.
No, not
Not yet.
But
Yeah.
there will be a point. Everybody comes across it at one point.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's why people, they could be sober for years and then all of a sudden, boom, they're back. It's the pink cloud.
Well, and that was part of the reason that I keep my counselor, even though I feel, you know what I mean? Like there's some weeks where it's just like, what am I doing here for an hour and a half? You know what I mean? I mean, it's positive no matter what. I adore her. I think she's awesome. But that's part of the reason I keep seeing her is because I've heard this, there might be another shoe that drops. Now, she said, don't wish that on yourself. She's like, maybe it won't either.
Right.
But I'm like, okay, at least I have this tool in my arsenal for that to work. One of the things that I was thinking, though, I was talking about weed, and I have access to copious amounts of weed. Okay, so my buddy's dispensary is called the Grass Station. Is that not the best name? I mean, except for Social Penetration. That's an awesome name also. But so it's called the Grass Station, and I have access to all this weed. Now, I don't smoke weed or eat edibles or anything like that, but I kind of feel like, and I'm not going to do it just because, and almost I don't do it just because I'm sober. It's kind of like, well, I don't want to pick up one thing for another. But I'm like, if I smoked weed, I would not consider myself unsober anymore because I don't care about it. Does that make sense? And it's kind of like I also don't freak out if I eat potato chips either because I don't eat freaking 2 bags of
No,
potato
I get
chips.
it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
It's not your drug of choice.
Yeah.
You're not like, oh, I need weed in order to
Not
feel
at all.
okay
As a
or
matter of
whatnot.
fact, no matter when I've had it, I'm like, I don't even get why people would use it.
So it doesn't do that thing like with
Right.
alcohol. When
Yeah.
you first tried alcohol, oh my gosh, this is the most beautiful thing that
Mhm.
I've ever done. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that I've lived my life
the first
without
time
it.
I actually
and-
puked on my patent leather shoes, but
Right.
yeah. I'm like,
That's lovely.
yeah, I know. Then I didn't drink. I didn't drink until I was like 20 years old, but I recognize now the correlation. I think any addiction is just a poor coping mechanism to soothing oneself. It's just a poor choice in soothing oneself. Whether or not that's potato chips, giving blowjobs, whatever, you know what I mean? Smoking cigarettes, whatever that thing is. Doing
So
eight
you're
balls.
saying-
Hey, I know what an 8 ball is. Thank
So
you,
you're
buddy.
saying self-medication?
It's self-medication, right? So that no matter what, anytime I see anybody using something, whether it's an activity or a substance, it's just you not soothing yourself in a mature and appropriate way.
Well,
Okay?
like I've said to you before, Stacey, I think it's just like, okay, there's a certain outcome that you
Mhm.
want, whether it's connection with other people, whether it's to relax, whether it's to shut off,
Mhm.
whether it's to, like we talked about, just like not have to deal with the intensity of being a moment to moment human being.
Right.
And, going, okay, what is it that you are trying to get? What is it that you are hoping to achieve from using this substance? And is there another way to that same outcome?
Right.
Yes.
Is there another means to getting there?
Right.
Yeah. And that's what I really discovered through working with my coach is that basically I felt kind of alien and excluded and out of place for a lot of my youth when I was a kid. I was kind of a weird kid.
Did you do that to him?
No, Meredith and I got along
No,
really
he was.
well.
I love
he was
it.
well weird when I
Yeah,
met him.
I was
in
pretty
middle
weird.
school.
I was pretty weird. And a little, hyperactive and kind
I
of.
think you had blue hair.
Yeah, I did have blue hair when we first met.
Nice.
And what it did for me was it got me into the club.
Okay.
It got me into the tribe. It got me into the group. And the truth is, I drank very frenetically. Like I drank a lot really fast, and then I would black out and pass out like hard. I was always the first one to pass out.
Me too.
Hard because I drank so much so fast.
People go like, how did you just drink 4 beers in like 15 minutes?
Yeah. And what it was trying to cope with that feeling of isolation, that feeling of exclusion, that feeling of being kind of out of place. And now, like I've said, I think I've said before, I can, I hang out with my friends while they're drinking, and they're like, yeah, Aaron's fine to hang out with people. He can still hang out and party. Now I got to go to bed earlier.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, you guys are
me too.
Ship hammered. It's time for me to go home.
Me too.
And go to bed. And
we talk about how boring we are.
Yeah.
We are. I mean, I'm like, yeah, all right.
Well,
I've had
I
as
mean,
much fun as I'm going to have here
It's not
now.
that fun hanging out with a bunch of drunk people
No.
anyway when you're sober. So.
Some of them are funny as hell. My bandmates are hysterical, and I love being around them even when they're drunk. But the truth is, there's just some people, you like who you like and you don't like who you don't like. And what I figured is it wasn't drunk people that I had a problem being around. In the music business and in the bar business, I'm around them a lot. It wasn't being around drunk people. It's just certain people aren't my people.
Right.
And they're not my people when they're sober, and they're not my people when they're drunk.
Yeah.
They're just like, I don't care for them.
I've always been a person that weeded my garden very well. Well, I shouldn't say this. I didn't weed my garden very well, and then I realized this sucks. So now, for years, I've said, "Oh, okay. Just because someone likes me doesn't mean I have to hang out with them, or be their friend, because I don't like them."
Not everybody has to be friends.
Right.
Well, and as we age, we start to, we build a bigger filter because we start to realize, well, I don't want to spend all my time hanging out with this loser.
Right.
Like, why did I do that in the first place?
Right.
But when we're in high school or whatnot, we have such low self-esteem or whatever it is. We're still discovering ourselves, trying to figure out who we are. And so we'll spend inordinate amounts of time with people that are just
right. Not
look at the size of my group of friends. I mean, the group of people I hung out with in high school. We had a huge group of friends and acquaintances, and it's like, this is my family. We're so close. And then I get older and I'm like, that guy's a bag of dicks. I don't really care
I
for
love
him.
that term, bag of dicks.
I can't believe that I
The
would
visual's
subject
awesome.
myself to spending hours in somebody's car or something like that I
Yeah.
don't even like.
Right. And that is where my substance abuse problem came from.
Okay.
Is from one of my bosses. He referred to it as the great equalizer. It's the great equalizer. It's like, man, we're kind of having trouble
Connecting.
interacting. Here, you drink this and I'll drink that. And then all of a sudden it's like,
we're twins.
Well, and here's another aspect of it is chemically, it shuts down the part of you that cares to give a flying
Flip.
Kerfuffle. Yeah, kerfuffle. It deactivates
we
the part
don't
of
have
you.
to watch our language, by the way, but we just
we're practicing.
We are.
It disengages the part of you cares to care.
Right.
And so you think about, okay, so what happens when I get drunk? I start loving on everybody. I start like talking to everybody, and I'm really animated and having a lot of fun. It's like, how can I do that? If that's what I want to do, if that's what I'm disengaging the critical, what would be called in transactional analysis, the pig parent or the ogre, or basically this like this part of you that like criticizes you all the time and keeps you in line. If that was not engaged without the use of drugs and alcohol, what would I want to do? And then figure out a way to develop those abilities without being overly critical and self-conscious of yourself.
Right.
Which
So
is
a lot of people are, have the same exact story as you, Aaron. So it's good that you're, explaining it in this way, because a lot of us we walk around with social anxiety and we don't even know that it is social anxiety. And so we'll use medication or whatever, substance or activity or whatnot to help us ease that social anxiety so that we can communicate with people, because obviously we're social beings, aren't we? We have to have that,
right?
That human communication and touch. And so we'll go to really far lengths to be able to retrieve that or receive that. And so rather than working on stuff that, that is preventing us inside from feeling comfortable, instead we go, oh, this makes me comfortable. Okay, this makes me comfortable too, but this makes me more comfortable. So I'm going to stick with that. And then we continue to use it over time.
That's
additionally, and I'm sorry, Stacey,
go
but
ahead.
Additionally, there is, I feel, or I have observed that there is an unrealistic standard of extroversion. Like, it's considered to be kind of weird to be an introvert and want to be on your own. There's a tremendous amount of people who would call themselves extroverts, but then if you were to give them a Myers-Briggs testing instrument or something like that, they would actually test really high as an introvert, as someone who likes to be alone. There's also kind of this pressure to be just like over the top social and over the top entertaining. And oh my God, I've got to be this really big personality or people aren't going to like me, or I've got to assert myself or people aren't going to like me, or, I've got to stand out or people aren't going to like me. And so people feel this need to be someone that they're not. And drugs and alcohol kind of facilitate that unrealistic standard of social acumen.
Yeah. So, I mean, definitely in the United States, it's that way. It's not as much that way, I'd say, in other countries. Like, I was in England for a little while, in Australia, and I don't think that they value extroversion as much. And say you go to Japan, and absolutely not. Actually, it would be, the absolute opposite of what you should be doing. But here, you're right. There is kind of that thing is if you are an extrovert, if you're displaying sociality, right, then you're looked at as more confident, as, you've got your life together, that people want to be like you. They want to be around you. They want to be your friend. They invite you to parties and all that kind of stuff.
He's a real go-getter.
Right. But like, you're sitting here like, yeah, I'm not that confident. I'm actually like freaking out inside, but I'm using this so that I can fit in more, or I can feel like,
or I'm totally
I'm
confident,
more comfortable,
or I'm totally confident. I just, honestly, I don't really care to be around a bunch of loud assholes. Like,
that brings me to 2 points. I remember when I was like 24 years old and I was driving around Denver, and there's somebody talking on the radio about that she was a doctor telling people they were calling in to find out how they could get over their shyness. I called in, by the way, raving extrovert. Now, with a caveat, I have a sign on my front door that says, if I don't know that you're coming and you don't have a hell of a delivery for me, if you ring this doorbell, I will snap your finger off like a raw asparagus. Okay. No, pretty dang close. Okay.
That's the subtext.
Like, I hear people outside reading the thing on my door, and it's just like, not here. And then they walk away. Okay. So
let's get out of here, Elder Joseph.
No, that's exactly right. Exactly right. That's the Jehovah's Witnesses. Because I am so curious, it's weird. It's weird how curious I am. And Aaron has seen this when we were at the Home Depot. He was asking me, he was like, do you talk to people when you're nervous? And I'm like, I don't think so. I can't think of why I would be nervous about something. I talk to everybody. I mean, hey, how's your dog? Where'd you get your dog? Hey, what part of town do you live in? Do you have any kids? Okay.
Just people walking down the street.
Totally. Yeah, I just do. I'm curious about other people a lot. And not, I like to hear their experiences. I just do. So, and sometimes I don't. And then I don't talk to anybody. But
that's like me. I mean, I'm walking around talking to nobody because I don't care.
Right. And now here's the thing. If I am in the mode where I don't care what anybody thinks about me not caring. Like, it's not like, oh, gee, I wonder if everybody's going to think I'm rude today or whatever. Don't give a shit.
Nope.
I don't care. And I just like don't feel like flexing my social muscle right now. With that said, though, these people were calling in and saying, like, oh, how do you help me get over my shyness? I called in and I go, okay, as a raving extrovert, okay, and I think that we could say that I'm extroverted.
Yes.
Yeah, slightly.
Yeah. I'm like, who the kerfuffle is going to listen to all the extroverts if you start telling everybody to get over their shyness? Come on. We need introverts. Extroverts never shut our pie holes. Introverts, listen to us. Hello, thank you.
Yeah,
Jeez.
and they have a deeper understanding of the internal world.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
which extroverts can miss out on by their constant focus on the external world.
You know what? We're gonna go to a break, but who's in studio? Why don't you say who you are?
Meredith Fisher.
Yeah, and what do you do? How do I know you?
Yeah, I'm your professor.
She's gonna give me an A. You guys have to tell her. You have to post on Facebook that she's gonna give me an A+++++. And Arturo,
Yeah, I work for U.S. Bank.
you work for U.S. Bank. I have a U.S. Bank story to tell after we go to break. But
I'm Aaron Howell from Heavy Mental Coaching.
you are. I'm Stacy. I'm a day maker, and you're listening to Social Penetration Radio.
And you're listening to Social Penetration, where entertainment meets enlightenment. It's on WCAS Radio Central 108, happening right. And you're listening to
Are you one of the
Social
millions of
Penetration, where
Americans who's a
entertainment
little
meets
afraid of the
enlightenment.
internet?
It's on
Do you
WCAS
feel it's
Radio
just not
Central
for you?
108,
Or maybe
happening
you think
right.
it's all too much and don't know where to begin learning. Did you know that today, many companies post job openings online only and require online applications? It's vital that every American have the digital literacy skills they need in order to succeed. For more information, visit www.everyoneon.org to find free internet and computer training classes in your area, or call 1-855-EVRY-1ON to learn more. This has been a public service message brought to you by Connect to Compete and by WCAS Radio.
Kids witness bullying every day. They want to help, but they don't know how. There are safe, simple ways your child can help stop bullying. Tell a trusted adult like a family member, teacher, or coach. Help the one being bullied get away. Be a friend to the person being bullied. Set a good example. Don't bully others. Don't give a bully an audience. Visit stopbullying.gov to learn more safe, simple ways your child can be more than a bystander. A message from the Ad Council and from WCAS Radio.
Does driving in the car make you want to smoke? What about having a cup of coffee in the morning? Or dealing with stress? These things, and many others, are triggers for smoking. And if you want to quit smoking, you'll need to relearn how to handle all of these things without a cigarette. X can help. It's a free 3-step quit plan created with help from Mayo Clinic and input from ex-smokers. It can help you relearn your smoking triggers and your life without cigarettes. Get your free X quit plan at becomeanx.org. X, a new way to think about quitting. This message brought to you by X and the Ad Council.
Did you know that of the 8 million dogs and cats that enter shelters each year, almost half of them are euthanized because they are not adopted? And the truth is, there's nothing wrong with these pets. They're just good dogs and cats, most of whom end up in shelters due to the owner-related issues that they have no control over. So if you want a pet, adopt. Brought to you by the Shelter Pet Project and the Ad Council. Go to theshelterpetproject.org to help. WCS Radio cares when it counts.
According to a recent survey, 86% of dads spend more time with their children today than their own fathers did with them. However, 7 out of 10 also report that they could use tips on how to be a better parent. Even the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. For more information, call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and by WCAS Radio.
It takes 12 years to create a graduate. It takes the same time to create a dropout. And the difference could be you. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor. Because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Take the pledge at unitedway.org and make a difference in the life of a child. A public service message brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council. WCAS cares when it counts.
Every day feels like your birthday. At WCAS Radio Central 108.
Go shorty, it's your birthday. We gonna party like it's your
24/7.
Hey, thanks for...
And you're listening to Social Penetration, where entertainment meets enlightenment. It's on WCAS Radio Central 108. Happening right.
Yeah, tell me when I can't hear. Is it over?
No.
Can I talk now?
Oh, yeah, you're good.
Okay, good. The one of the things that I realized when I didn't drink until I was 20 years old, and it was when I got my first place. And now in hindsight, I realize that totally correlates with having to take care of yourself. Yeah, who knew?
It was a symbol of adulthood.
One of the things that, so I want to talk about this next. And it's my show, so we get to talk about whatever I want because I'm the boss of it, okay? But by the way, hijack it at any time. This is, am I going to what?
Are you going to hook me up with one of those? Or
Yeah, no. Well, we can. One of the things I wanted to talk about is abstinence. And I was reading this article.
Abstinence versus moderation.
Yeah, versus moderation.
You're writing your paper about that right now, aren't you?
I am?
Well, yeah.
You want me to?
Well, that's what the paper is about.
Oh.
You choose,
I'm not,
whatever
I
it
don't,
is, and then you decide whether or not the research supports harm reduction versus an abstinence model.
For me, I just can't drink. I think it's great. I think booze is awesome, and I can't imagine how great it would feel if I started all over again. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it would feel even better the first time, and it would be like a slippery slope.
I can't do it now. I know that.
I
know I can't do it now, but the life is pretty long.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm going to drink when I'm 85.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I try.
And I'm going to die hammered.
You know,
I am. I'm going to be 99, and I'm going to be lit up like a Christmas tree.
I
Champagne.
originally, when I made the decision to quit, I tried to get my coach to make an agreement with me that I was going to quit for the rest of my life. And she said, no. I was like, I need you to hold me to the commitment that I'm going to stop for the rest of my life. And she said, no. She said, because what's going to happen is those parts of your psyche that want to continue drinking are going to become mutinous, and you're going to get a case of the fuckets, and you're going to fall off the wagon, and it's going to feel like a defeat. She said, we're going to make a contract for the week. We renewed that contract every week. And we still renew it.
Yeah. And not only that, there's something in my brain that when I say 85, it makes it so that now is really easy. Like, it's kind of like, well, I don't really care if I don't drink right now, because when I'm 85, I'm just going to get. But I used to say that when I quit smoking, I used to smoke 2.5 to 4 packs a day.
Oh my goodness,
I was allergic to fresh air. And I also work for a brewery, so it was easy to do. And I work for myself, so I could just smoke my face off all day long. It was really sexy and hot and smelled so great. And with that said, I had always told myself, if I'm going to start smoking again when I'm like 60, okay? Or when I'm like 40, I would just say that to myself. Then there just came a point where I was like, I would never do that again. Like, I don't have any cravings for cigarettes whatsoever. It grosses me out. It's like, I would never make out with somebody that smoked. I mean, all of that stuff. So it's almost like.
But imagine with all of that you actually did decide, okay, I'll have a cigarette socially. What do you think would happen after that moment?
Right. It would be like new. It would
Brand
be like,
new.
hello, all that pathways. So I wouldn't do that. But I can say that after having quit smoking for 13 years. So, and I've only not drank for 4 months or whatever. So right now, and I hadn't made that correlation until just recently, where I was like, oh, that was kind of the same thing I did with cigarettes. Is I said later on, I'm going to, start smoking again. And then it just sort of went away.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
I just had so much of my identity wrapped up in drinking and partying. It's like, okay, a friend's dad told me this story one time, which he used to, when we used to practice over at his house, he told us this story where he was like, when I was a kid, I really wanted to be an astronaut. And I found out that the astronauts drank Tang. So I begged my parents to go get me some Tang, and I would just drink it all the time, just all day long. It just I'd have Tang for breakfast, I'd have Tang for lunch, I'd have Tang with dinner, just
so good for
all day long, until my lips were orange. And you know what? I didn't become an astronaut. And he goes, because a Tang, drinking Tang doesn't make you an astronaut. Lots of training, lots of hard work, and a little bit of luck makes you an astronaut.
Right.
And what he was doing that was as a metaphor, and it stuck with me for years, as I had equated partying and excess with being a rock star. And you know what? I've had more success in my music career since I stopped drinking.
Yeah.
And there was a great deal of my identity caught up in it. And to the point where I was like, well, there are a handful of exceptions to which I will drink. You know, I'll drink champagne the day my daughter gets married. I will drink German beer if the band ever goes on tour to Germany. And then sure enough, we got invited to Germany. And now I'm sitting there going, you know what? I don't think I'm going to drink while I'm out there. I'm not ready for it yet. You know what I mean? I'm not ready to take the risk. And I've built up a lot of time that I'm pretty proud of.
Well, and that was the same thing with this show. I mean, one of the reasons I quit drinking, aside from the fact that I had sex with a 28-year-old on Halloween and don't recall. Okay.
If she recalled, it wouldn't be a problem.
Oh, yeah. That would actually have been fun.
Yeah.
It was the fact that I did.
Damn it, I don't remember.
Oh. But with that said, hopefully that person is not listening right now. But with that said, I also wanted to energetically open something up for myself. Like it was like, okay, this radio show, it was doing great. I mean, this show does great. I'm very thankful that, you know, we have our listeners and that you have joined, and which actually happened after I quit drinking. But I just wanted to like there was some sort of stagnant energy that was going on, and I wanted to open up some energy. And ever since that's opened up, and I'm not saying I've necessarily done anything different per se, it's just better things just show up, or when they show up, I know I recognize them. Yeah. So that was more of why I did it. But yeah, no. And this article that I have here, they talk about, you know, moderation management, you know, versus which moderation management kind of has this rule that you can have 2 drinks a day or something
I went to some moderation management meetings.
Yeah. And I actually, you know, read their website and tried to do that one time. But, you know, it was always like, oh, I can have 2. So then I would get like the glass of wine that could fit like almost a whole bottle. Look, I only had 2. Happy birthday to me.
Right. If you're already having a problem moderating, then that might not be the way to go, because you have that drink and then you have that next drink and then you're feeling a little buzzed and you're like, oh, I actually want to feel a little bit more buzzed. Okay. And so by then your inhibitions are lowered. You're
like, let's rock and roll.
I know. And if I quit cigarettes 9 years ago. If I had another cigarette, I know that I'd be right back on the train.
Yeah.
And I did try moderation. I did try, taking it down to like, oh, okay, I'm only going to have 4 cigarettes a day. Right. And that didn't help me quit. It took me 3 years to quit that way.
And then you get the ones that are like 6 feet long. Right? I'm going to do that for people.
Right?
Oh, you only want to have 2? You're welcome.
Oh, I even did. Okay, I'm not smoking cigarettes. I'm now going to smoke cigarellos instead, or I'm going to smoke black and mild. So I only have 1 black and mild in the day, but I would put it out several times.
Well, it's because the deeper structure of the problem isn't being addressed. You know, you're only addressing the surface structure of the problem. You know, the problem is not the problem. You know, what is the addiction an example of? What is the, presenting problem of addictions across the board? Because generally with people who exhibit addictive behavior have multiple addictive behaviors. So what are all those behaviors an example of? What is the purpose for those problems? And there's a deeper structure to why people are drinking and doing things like I went to moderation management and I thought it was cool. Then I read the book and I did the process, but it wasn't long before I was off to the races again, because I was dealing with the drinking behavior, not the cause.
Underlying issue.
Yeah, not the underlying issues behind the drinking behavior, which was an inability to separate my identity from the identity of a heavy drinker.
Just to kind of give you a heads up, though, I just think that this story is so riveting, okay, about, abstinence versus moderation. The founder of Moderation Management actually committed suicide. She has been shiphoused for years. She admitted before she died that she actually never, ever controlled her drinking through moderation. And on December 19th in 2014, she actually killed someone in an alcoholic blackout. And I just think that it's funny, not ha-ha funny, but ironic that this person who, espoused the value of moderation management admitted she could never do it herself. So,
well, just think of all the monuments and palaces people have built to support a belief that they had, to support, they think by creating this big thing outside of themselves, that the bigger they can get it, the more it will validate the belief that they have. The more it happens all the time. Now, I would say that there are people I met through that program that are on top of it. They're very serious. They do a lot of good work, and a lot of people get benefit from it. It's really disappointing that the founder of that program would meet such a really tragically ironic end. But
it's a lot more difficult to do it that way as well. Actually,
Yeah.
to moderate. I mean, imagine what would be going through your head all the time. Like, you would have to be so vigilant. You couldn't just forget about it sometimes, like you can with abstinence.
you'd be stressed out about your 2 drinks.
Oh my
You
gosh!
just
Every
think,
night,
okay.
every night, you'd be waiting to get to those 2 drinks.
That was
It would just be
exactly how
like-
I always was. Yeah. And whereas now when I don't drink, I a lot of times will go,
I mean, it's causing me anxiety thinking about
Right.
that moderation plan.
Right.
And I'm not even a heavy drinker. I don't drink every night.
Uh-huh.
But like thinking like, okay, if I could only have 2 drinks
right
a night, and I had to like plan that I could only have that.
Been there, done that. Bought the t-shirts.
And
bought the
honestly,
t-shirts.
causing me
when I was on
anxiety.
probation, I really attribute to I really attribute forced abstinence to why I developed, or one of them, a contributing factor in developing such a harsh binge drinking problem. So what happened is I was on these things called ETG tests, which are basically it's an 80-hour test, and they don't detect alcohol. They detect the presence of the ETG enzyme that your liver produces when you drink alcohol. Every substance has a certain metabolite that it produces. Cocaine has a certain metabolite it produces. Marijuana has a certain metabolite it produces, and on and on. Well, ETG is the metabolite that is produced by drinking alcohol. So you would take a piss test, and they would look for the presence of the ETG enzyme. There's really no way to beat it. There's no way to mask. I have people tell me all the time that they're like, I figured out a way to beat the ETG. And it's like, you're going to get caught eventually. If you're listening and you're on probation and you think that you're going to trick the ETG test, you're going to get caught and you're going to end up on probation longer. Stop being a moron. Anyway,
Good
sorry.
call.
That came
Public
from a deep
service
place.
announcement.
Public service
Yeah. Thank
announcement.
you.
Stop doing
He's
it.
right.
Just stay sober while you're on probation, and then do whatever you want afterwards.
Don't be a dummy.
But what I found out was that, so what I would do is if I tested earlier in the week, like if I tested on a Monday, I was done for the week. So I was off to the races all week until Saturday or Friday or Saturday, when I would allow myself 2 or 3 days to kind of dry out so that I would be able to pass a test if I needed to. And I started planning ahead these benders, and I would drink my ass off for 3-4 days straight, nonstop, just wasted out of my
That you
skull.
wouldn't normally do.
Right, that I wouldn't normally do. And it wasn't teaching me to be in control of myself. It was teaching me how to defy the system and get away with it.
Right.
And I think a lot of people that end up in the criminal justice system are people who kind of have a problem with authority in the first place.
Oh.
So putting them in a situation where you're giving them enough rope to hang themselves
Right.
is just
Right.
asking for trouble.
And, talk
And we
about
could go
pink
in.
cloud. It's like perpetual pink cloud.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, okay, well, what's going to stop me tonight from drinking the whole bottle? Maybe every night I've done really, really well, but tonight I'm going to reward myself with the whole bottle.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I've earned
See,
enough stamps.
And I don't feel that way. I mean, and I'm sure that it's because I'm new into this too, but I just don't feel that that's a reward. Like, I have seen so many other rewards from not drinking. The drinking does not even feel like it would be a reward. Like, that just seems like it would be like punishment almost. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I'm talking about you're abstaining, right?
Yeah.
Correct? I'm talking about if you are trying to manage.
right.
So imagine you're trying to manage, you're on 2 drinks a night. What's, after a period of time where you've been so good, right? So good, quote unquote good. What's going to stop you from, tricking yourself into that, that entire bottle?
Right.
Right. How do you manage that?
It's a
That's
special
really tough.
occasion.
That's really
See,
tough.
and that's
It's the
why
exception to the rule.
And that's why I don't have exceptions to my rules, because I was like, oh my God, if I just say I'll drink only at special occasions, everything's a special occasion to me. I
Like
mean,
in
I
AA,
can find
they say, like the opening of a new pack of cigarettes.
That's so funny. Actually, just in case you guys didn't know, that Audrey Kishline, the way that she sort of became famous was, well, if you want to use that word, she actually killed someone in a car accident years before this, and the killer's mother forgave her and wrote a book with her, and wrote Moderation Management, this book. Okay, so when she killed somebody in 2014, that was the second time she had done that. And I don't normally like to read on air, but I'm just going to read the end of this so that we can sort of put this to bed. But I thought it was pretty poignant. It said, Kishline had said in the past that she had suffered from anxiety and depression. It will never be known if those mental health issues contributed to her drinking and possibly her death. Many opponents of Moderation Management use Kishline's vehicular manslaughter charge as an indictment of the program itself. But of course, at the time of her car crash, by her own account, Kishline was no longer a member of the program she created, but a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, as well as a few other abstinent-based programs. Kishline's life and story emphasized the complexities of addiction. Kishline not only employed the Moderation Management program, but inpatient rehab, AA, Women for Sobriety, Rational Recovery, and Smart Recovery to address her drinking issues. Ironically, it seems the self-proclaimed alcoholic founded a program that works effectively for the problem drinker. The skill lies in identifying the difference. It is possible, it is perhaps in the challenges of her own struggles with addiction and in the possibility of forgiveness and compassion in her friendship with Cheryl Malloy that her most enduring legacy may be found.
Yeah, and what that says to me right there is that she went and, she was polishing a turd.
Right.
You know what I mean? She was going and she was dealing with surface issues.
Agreed.
She was dealing with surface problems. She was not dealing with the anxiety and depression that was leading her to self-medicate with alcohol. Which all really comes down to fear of being alive. Fear of being human, being a human being from moment to moment.
Yep.
Fear of just existing and being unsure and being insecure about where everything is going and trusting that things are going to work out. It's that desire to escape from being a living sentient being. Some people would there's a line in the Four Agreements. I don't know if you've ever read the Four Agreements.
I was supposed to go see him on Sunday night.
Where he talks about our greatest fear is not death. Our greatest fear is being alive. And we deal with that fear of being alive in a lot of different ways. And, like I said earlier, it's going unconscious.
Yep.
And that's, drinking booze is one of my favorite ways to go unconscious.
Yep. No, that was my favorite.
Deeply unconscious.
Yeah. But no, I really don't feel that if I smoked weed that I would consider that like a relapse or whatever. It's just I'm not going to smoke weed because I'm not going to smoke
I got
weed.
a little baked before bed last night.
Nice.
I was out handing out posters for our show, April 18th at the Oriental Theater with the legendary Murphy's Law.
I'm, by the way, going to be in Vegas that weekend.
Oh, bummer. The Bruce Banner Bowl. It's a Cannabis Cup weekend. And I went and saw my buddy Scott, who works at Denver Relief. And that guy must have gone to weed college because he knows everything. And he was telling me about all the different effects and whatnot. And I bought a joint of something that he said was sleepy weed, and I smoked.
Was it?
Oh yeah, it was great. I smoked a little bit of sleepy weed, and I watched a documentary and went to bed, and I felt great.
Awesome. Yeah.
But I'm not a heavy
hangover.
weed smoker.
Yeah. Not my drug of choice either. Hey, when we come back, we're going to talk about dopamine and its effects on the brain, which is basically what all this stuff is all about. You are listening to Social Penetration, where entertainment meets enlightenment. I'm Stacy. I'm in the studio with Arturo, Meredith, and Aaron, and we will be right back.
What was your favorite book as a child? What was it about the book that made it so memorable? Books can spark a lifetime of ambition, and that starts with regular reading. We're calling upon everyone to unite as book people and encourage a child's lifelong love of reading. Book People Unite is the start of a movement to help more children develop a passion for books and learning. Help ignite a reading renaissance in America and join us as book person by visiting bookpeopleunite.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the Library of Congress. Reading is fundamental, and by WCAS Radio.
Saving money today is like giving a gift to your future self. A little money from each paycheck can go a long way, and you'll need those savings set aside to do cool stuff in the future. I was able to buy an amazing car because I was able to save my money. Yeah, it's hard, but it's the right thing to do. Take control of your finances and make savings a part of your daily life. So buy that car that you've been dreaming about buying. Put away a few bucks. Feel like $1,000,000. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org or visit Feed the Pig on Facebook. This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, the Ad Council, and WCAS Radio.
Did you know that nearly 49 million Americans struggle with hunger? That's 1 out of every 6 people. They're around us every day. They're our friends. They're our coworkers. Their kids go to school with our kids. Sometimes we're not even aware that they're struggling. This problem is closer than you'd think, but so is the solution. Visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help. Every dollar you donate helps provide 8 meals for those around you struggling with hunger. Together, we're Feeding America. A public service announcement from Feeding America and WCAS Radio.
Kids spend a lot of time on all sorts of ridiculous things. They spend ages watching funny online videos or 197 straight minutes playing a video game about alien picnics, which means they can spend 2 minutes twice a day brushing their teeth. Tooth decay is the single most common chronic childhood disease. That's why brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. To find out more, visit 2min2x.org. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council, and by WCAS Radio.
Hey guys, you're listening to Social Penetration. Give us a call at 303-352-7424 and join the conversation.
According to a recent survey, 86% of dads spend more time with their children than their own fathers did with them. However, 7 out of 10 also report that they could use tips on how to be a better parent. Even the smallest moments can have the biggest impact in a child's life. Take the time to be a dad today. For more information, call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and by WCAS Radio.
Kids witness bullying every day. They want to help, but they don't know how. There are safe, simple ways your child can help stop bullying. Teach your kids the 5 bystander tips. Tell a trusted adult, like a family member, teacher, or coach. Help the person being bullied get away from the situation. Be a good friend to the person being bullied. Set a good example by not bullying others. And don't give bullying an audience. Visit stopbullying.gov to learn more safe, simple ways your child can be more than a bystander. A public service announcement from the Ad Council. WCAS cares when it counts.
Hey guys, you're listening to Social Penetration. Give us a call at 303-352-7424 and join the conversation.
Driver, personal shopper, financial manager, nurse, and daughter. At AARP, they understand the many roles caregivers play. That's why they created aarp.org/caregiving. It's an online resource center that connects you with experts and other caregivers. Together, we can better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving to learn more. Brought to you by AARP, the Ad Council, and by WCAS Radio.
Internet streaming, 0 commercials.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Listening to Social Penetration, where entertainment meets enlightenment. It's on WCAS Radio, Central 108, happening right now.
Okay, we're back, guys, huh? Right now. Everybody, you're listening to Social Penetration, where entertainment meets enlightenment. Do you know that social penetration is actually a communications theory, not just my pervy ass idea?
But it's also a pervy ass idea.
I have heard.
Yeah. So social penetration theory is that it's the theory that communication is like an onion, and that as you get to know people, you peel back more layers, which
and it makes you cry.
And it makes you cry. Yeah, you're right. And But you know it's just a theory because you always have those people at the grocery store that tell you far more than you ever wanted to know. So ergo, it's just a theory.
Tell you far more than you wanted to know because I'm not asking people at the grocery store about their lives, but this is
Oh my God, all the time. I'm like, oh my God, if you ever tried Noosa yogurt, don't even bother
That's
with
him.
the other yogurt. Have you had Noosa? Oh my God,
All the time.
people think
Nothing
I
less.
He does the
work
same
there.
thing at the grocery store. Have you had this yogurt?
Uh-huh.
You should have this yogurt.
No, I do that too.
Oh yeah,
I,
she does it.
I do. Oh yeah, she does it. No,
We go out to eat. We go out to eat, and we're talking to the waiter half the time. And I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And you're like, she knows all this stuff about the waiter. When we went out
Yeah.
to dinner that first time,
Yeah.
and you were just like talking to the waiter, and you
Well, he's
knew
from
his-
Guanajuato,
Yeah.
and he moved here like this 2.5 years ago. And I first met him when he was my back waiter for Denver Restaurant Week, and he sends money home to his family. And I was just checking.
I would
up
have
on him.
said, "Thank you,
I'm
thank
like,
you.
Hey,
Thank
We'll
you,
be
that's very
fine.
nice. Hey.
Some more iced tea sounds good. Thank you."
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's all good.
Stacy is a unique individual.
I just love people. I do.
We need people like you. Because,
I love
you know,
people. I have so much faith in humanity. Oh my God. Not only that, nothing bad ever happens to me. I mean, I should be raped, dead, riddled with sexually transmitted disease. I mean, really, I should be taking a dirt nap. The fact that I'm miraculous and it is a
No,
to like how cool
Life
humans
is a red
are.
hot skillet, and Stacy is wearing butter skates.
I kind of am. It is.
Who
Like-
wants flapjacks?
That's so funny. I always love it when you do those voices. That is the best. Okay, just in case you were wondering, this is Social Penetration Radio, where entertainment meets enlightenment. The topic tonight is addiction. In the house, Meredith Fisher, Arturo Hernandez, Aaron Howell, me, Stace, Daymaker. That's what I do. Make people's day.
I feel like I was bamboozled. I thought that the topic tonight was diction. And I
Uh-huh.
brought all these vocal warm-ups that we were going to do tonight to sit in solemn silence on a dull, dark dock.
You know, one of the worst things you ever did to me was call this social pizza-tration.
Oh, social pizza-tration?
We were
Yeah.
eating pizza at the beginning of the show. He called it social pizza-tration. I can't get it out of my head.
You're
That was
what?
like
You're listening
6
to
shows ago.
Social pizza-tration.
Oh my God. Makes me puke a little in my mouth. Okay, so I have the attention span of a gerbil. You
Right.
haven't picked up on that. Okay, we all know this. Here's I definitely want to talk about before the end of tonight, that thing that we talked about in class last night, this alternative reality world.
Oh, Second
Do you know
Life.
do you know anything about this Second Life thing?
Oh, like the computer program Second Life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're talking about that on the show because apparently I learn something new every day.
You don't
I
have
barely-
a second life. She doesn't have a second life. You hear that, everybody? Stacy's just learning about Second Life.
You douchebag.
Oh, man.
Okay. I know. Can you see like how we're like brother and sister? Like it's just like one day he goes, "You know how we're nothing alike."
I
like,
didn't say nothing alike. I
No,
said
we're so
very
different.
I
We're
said
very
we're very
different.
different. We are. We're very the same, very different.
Very different, very the same. Okay, so we're going to talk about dopamine. Here's the thing. One of the most the biggest piece of information in our class so far that blew my effing mind, okay, was that addiction to substance in the brain operates just like addiction to activity.
Right.
Yeah, the only things you like are dopamine and oxytocin
I love oxytocin.
and
Opiates. So
and-
your body will produce
yeah,
natural
yeah, yeah.
opiates
Just
as well.
like basically, there's only a handful of like neurochemicals that you actually like, but all these different means to produce them. Yeah.
Thanks. I had to like go to school for the past year and a half to learn all that crap, and here he is.
I
Whatever.
dropped out of high school. You wasted your money.
Very funny, Mr. Smarty Pants. They basically actually have paid me to be here.
Yeah,
Honestly, I can't believe how much money they've given me. It's
I'm
weird.
envious. I honestly am.
It's well, you should be, especially after the ischemic tumor report I did on Saturday instead of going to my friend's birthday party. Yeah, you're welcome.
Well,
Anywho,
you're committed. So
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, so that blew my mind. And because I had always sort of scratched my head, my brother used to drink his face off and then he just quit. Except for he gambles so much that like everything he owns is like about to be foreclosed or repoed or whatever. Okay. And he owes a bunch of money to the IRS. Thank you, family. You're welcome, family, for divulging all of your stuff. Hey, I have 2 brothers. You don't know which one it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was always like, that is so mind blowing that he can just quit drinking. But when you said that in class, that it's like, nope, it looks exactly the same way in the brain. I was like, oh, well, that would be easy. I mean, yeah, if I just like, you know what I mean? That took up, I don't know, shopping, sex, whatever. I could do the same thing that I just did with quitting drinking. And as a matter of fact, I noticed that when I first quit drinking, I was spending my face off. I was like Kanye. No, Kanye was like, it was so funny. I would call myself the white Kanye. No. Kanye is the black Stacey. Okay. Cause you should have seen this baller ass in December. I was like, oh my God, I bought like $10,000 in clothes. They're super
I get
cute.
it.
Don't kid yourself. But I was like, no. I'm replacing one activity for another. I'm going to quit doing that. Right.
Well, the energy's got to go somewhere.
The energy's got to go somewhere. Right. And that's when I decided to pick up meditation instead. But that like was so mind blowing when you said that in class. So,
well, the reason why it's true is because all of those neurotransmitters that are being produced by the drugs are actually just mimicking our own neurotransmitters that are already in our body. If we didn't have them there, it's just like, as far as, blood type, right? You have to have the right blood type coming into your body or else your body's going to reject it. So that's the way that drugs work on our system, is that they activate certain parts of our brain that activate the neurotransmitters that we produce that we like. So the liking and the wanting neurotransmitters. That happens to be dopamine. Oxytocin is one for love, for feelings of love. Endorphins. Yeah, we have, natural ability to produce opiates as well. So opium, any kind of like pills that you take, like pain pills or whatnot, they're going to mimic our natural ability to produce opium or overproduce opium in our system. So activities that we love to do also produce this neurotransmitter, whichever neurotransmitter it happens to be, depending on the activity. And so, of course, it works exactly the same in the brain because we're producing it. And if we're overproducing it, it's going to do the same thing as overproduction does when you use drugs or alcohol, right? So
it's going to deplete. It's going to deplete the reserves.
So there's a couple of ways things happen, and we'll talk about that in a second. But just imagine so the first time you ever had a strawberry, right? You have the gustatory reaction to the strawberry. Okay, the strawberry is sweet. It tastes really nice for the most part. Most people like strawberries. Yeah. And so there's that. And then there's a little bit of sugar in strawberries as well. So sugar also will release dopamine in the brain. Okay. And then imagine instead you had a strawberry candy. Okay. The strawberry candy, it releases the same amount of, gustatory excitement as the strawberry, or maybe even a little bit more because it's a bit sweeter. And then there's so much more sugar in it that it's releasing so much more dopamine into your brain that's where perhaps the addiction starts with sugar.
Gotcha.
Okay. So if we're able to start overacting our system, so that's the first way, is that certain drugs or alcohol specifically, let's say, what it does is actually inhibits one of our inhibitory neurotransmitters called GABA. And GABA, its only job is to inhibit the production of dopamine. Okay, so that we don't overproduce dopamine. So if you're inhibiting GABA, then what's happening is that you are overproducing dopamine. And so your receptors in your brain have to compensate for that, right? So you start producing more receptors so that you can handle that amount of dopamine. Then when you do not have the drug, the alcohol, right? Then you go through with what's called a withdrawal. So that's, it's pretty intense. That's why alcohol, because it works on the brain that way, we have, actually really bad reactions when we're coming off of it. And actually some people can die from that because our body completely goes haywire because we have all these extra receptors and nothing to go in it, right? And then there's things like cocaine or methamphetamine that actually, instead of producing more dopamine, what they do is they actually inhibit the reuptake of dopamine. So normally we would release dopamine and then we don't need all of it. So we'd recycle it in our bodies. And instead, when you're using cocaine or methamphetamine, then we are limiting the reuptake of it. So that means it's just chilling around the synapse. And so it's got to go somewhere at some point. And so it's acting sort of in the same way in that it's producing more receptors because of the fact that you're putting more dopamine in. Right. So there's just a little bit of a different way that it works. But activities that are excitatory are going to work the same way that methamphetamine is going to work on our body, right? Because we are producing that that thrill-seeking excitement that methamphetamine would produce as well. And so it's going to work in the same exact way. We are going to be inhibiting the reuptake of dopamine in our bodies, or in our brains, excuse me. So of course we can be addicted to behavior.
Yeah. Well, or like we were even talking in class about like scary movies. Or do you like scary movies?
Yeah, I haven't watched one in a while because they haven't made a really good one in a while.
I don't know if it's a high threshold or low threshold. I don't know how to say it, but I'm not scared by many scary movies.
Well, but that comes from desensitization.
But also, I'm not scared by many roller coasters either. It takes a bad mother mamma
jamma.
Uh-huh.
I'm addicted. I'm addicted to going on tour.
Are you?
Yeah, I love traveling. I love traveling and playing music.
Traveling too.
I'm a
addicted to
travel addict.
Yeah.
I'm an absolute travel addict.
Like I actually, if I go on tour, I'll come home and I call it like disinstitutionalization, which is basically I come back from being on tour and having all that freedom and all that experience and all that stimulation, and I get depressed.
Oh, really?
Like there are a lot of musicians, and my musician brother and sisters out there, you know what I'm talking about. You road dogs out there know what I'm talking about, which is the post-tour depression, which is you come back and it's just like, well, I guess I'm just back to being a normal person again. And I guess I'm back to just seeing the same old bullshit.
But that, I would argue, is not the reason why you are depressed. The reason why you are depressed is because while you are on tour, you're experiencing all these exciting, enthralling things. You're up on stage, which produces massive amounts of dopamine.
Right.
You're excited, you're happy, all that kind of stuff. Rush comes over you. And then, you're visiting new places, you're getting in loads of different stimuli, and it's all, it's all producing dopamine.
It's also the flow of doing your true purpose.
Right.
Like feeling, to take it to a more woo-woo type of out there esoteric type of thing. It's like, you are acting from your true why, your true mission in life, and coming back to, men and women were not meant to sit in cubicles, and they weren't meant to work jobs that they hate, and they weren't meant to sit in traffic all day with the horns blazing and
agreed,
and like all sorts of salt and sugar assaulting their brains and noise and being overcrowded and stuff like that. That's not what we were designed to do.
GMOs.
Yeah.
No, there's way too much stimulus. We have way too much going on and horrible things happening, in everyday life that we weren't really set up
An
to.
estimated 11 million bits per second of information assaulting our nervous system at one time, of which we are able to attend to 134 bits per second.
Wow.
Okay.
That's scary.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things that I have, sort of thought of in class that I notice a lot of people say is, why don't they just stop? Or, I think it's one individual say this a couple of times. If they loved me, they would just stop.
Right.
And here's the other thing. I mean, I guess I never really had anyone say that to me necessarily, but what I know that there was a study done where they had rats that were in sort of this barren cage, and they had cocaine water and regular water, and the rats always went to the cocaine water, right? And then they had this rat cage that was like super fun, had like an
enriched environment.
Rat roller coaster, rat club. I don't know. I want to make
rat air hockey.
Yeah, rat air hockey, rat foosball,
rat pinball,
rat whack-a-mole.
Oh, Rat, like the 80s hair metal band Rat was
in
performing.
there. Yeah. Dude,
round and round. What goes around comes around.
Okay. We have a new, we can now. Okay. So
all right.
we
So
can
an
make,
enriched environment.
we can make our own Skinner box.
Yeah.
Okay. Done. We'll start working on that.
Skinner box, a Leonard Skinner box.
You can make your own enriched environment box.
Right. Right.
And what happens when they put the rats in this enriched environment?
They always go to the water, never the cocaine.
Go to the water, right?
Every time, never the cocaine, which is something I made the correlation with too, is that as my life had more and more things that I found meaningful in it, I drank less and less. So If I, had exciting things going on or whatever, I found that I was drinking less and less. So this show started in August of last year. And as the show started to progress, and I would go, oh my God, I'm so excited on Wednesday night, we're going to be on. Because the show started at an hour and then now has evolved to a 3-hour show. But as, I was like, oh my God, the show's so great. I can't wait for Wednesday. That I would find that I drank less and less and less, especially on Wednesdays.
Wait a minute, Stacy. Are you telling me that there's a correlation between substance abuse and general satisfaction in life? You gotta be kidding me.
Hey,
Can't be any such thing,
you
right?
gotta check out the Skinner box to
Yeah.
find out for sure.
Woo,
That
Skinner!
was a very funny play on words, by the way.
Yeah.
Leonard Skinner box.
The Leonard Skinner box.
No. Oh my God. Do you know how to draw?
Do I know how to draw?
Yeah.
No, I
Have that Jerry guy or Gary,
Josh Finley.
Have that guy draw a Leonard Skinner box with rats,
a Skinner
with some
box.
rats in it. Okay, sorry, we digress.
All
Happens
right. Yeah,
all
let's
the
come
time.
back to the about. So you felt like that students were saying, why is my friend not quitting? Why?
Right.
And
Yeah.
what would you say to them?
Actually, here's one of the things that I always think about is especially when people harp on either their parent or whatever. What is it in what is it in their life clearly something in their life is missing. They're not living in that enriched environment.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Not only that, what is your bitching doing to enhance that environment? Nada. In fact, it's so much the opposite. It's like, oh my God, I can't wait to booze it up just to shut you up in my brain.
You know what?
Yeah.
I can speak firsthand. My ex-wife and I were very addictive people. She ended up becoming addicted to heroin and we separated. But the entire time we were together, it was not just, drugs, but alcohol and just different experiences. And she would make mass purchases. She would take her mom's credit card and make mass purchases online. And it was constantly about filling our lives with stuff. And it was because there was not we were very unhappy. We were very depressed. We were very anxious. We didn't have a lot of purpose in our lives. And as a result, we drank and drugged and consumed, just became consumption addicted, not just drug and alcohol addicted, but consumption addicted. Simply because there wasn't anything that we were doing that was for any type of higher noble cause. You know what I mean?
Wouldn't any mental health professional, though, tell what I just think about somebody that is not very nice? Like, why would they not keep drinking when they have to listen to you bitch? I mean, that's probably not the nicest thing to say, but honestly, I'm like, how is that enhancing their environment? How is that enriching their environment?
Well, ultimately, when somebody makes a judgment upon you at your level, okay, and say, the way that you feel about them is that they are a friend of yours or a family member, right? And that is the level that you put them on. And they come to you, in judgment, right? If they are not qualified to make that judgment in your mind, it's only going to hurt you. So that is why I try to stress that other people's addictions are not about you.
Right.
They're about them.
Yeah.
And you are not qualified to fix them, to help them, to do any of that. You can you can speak your mind, you can detach, you can, not participate, or you can participate, whatever it is that you want to do. But their addiction is about them. If it was about you, they would have never started in the first place.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So the other side of the coin is that if it is you that is afflicted with addiction, and how if you are afflicted with addiction is if the use or abuse of substances or behaviors is causing you internal distress, or
whether
causing
that's
you
sex or potato chips or scary movies or whatever.
gambling or whatever. It's
TV
causing
watching.
you more distress to, commit that behavior or use that drug than
Or
it is
stop.
if you stopped, right?
Yeah.
But you lose control. So that's kind of where you sit. But if you are in that place, then you need to get that it is about you and it's not about anybody else.
Right.
And that is where you start to heal.
Well, and that's actually one of the things that I have told friends that have come to me saying, oh, my friend or significant other or somebody in my family drinks their face off and I just don't get it. And I'll say, clearly they're lacking some sort of stimulation, like really fulfilling. I don't mean stimulation like cocaine or whatever, but like a fulfilling thing in their life. Because me personally, when I had really no activity or whatever in my life that was really fulfilling for an extended period of time. Like I've always been a volunteer, but I volunteer on Fridays and Tuesdays and you know what I mean? It was bang, done, over with. That it wasn't a long-term fulfillment.
Not necessarily forwarding your life.
Right. That I'll say, that maybe you can help them see that there's, hey, my buddy Stacy really made the recognition that she needed something fulfilling in her life to sort of make her not want to drink as much. This study's been done with having rats that are in this, barren environment versus being in this more enriched environment. Maybe you want to think about that, period. Like not point the finger or whatever, just like, because I don't think that that's a judgment. I think that that's just an observation.
Well, at the same time, the meaning of communication is the response that you get. And just from
what the hell
experiences.
does that mean?
Well, what it means is that your intentions in a communication are irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
The meaning of the communication comes from what the response is from another person. That's just a presupposition of being a flexible communicator. Okay. So I have had instances before where I have, with the intention of just presenting information and just helping and just like, look, I just want to pass this along to you. I know you're dealing with this, blah, blah, blah. Where someone's come back and been like, I'm not one of your clients and I'm not your project.
That's what you were talking about.
I'm not your project. I'm not something that needs to be fixed. I'm not damaged goods. And I don't need you to talk to me like you know something that I don't know. And like you're an authority on the subject. Some people are very resistant to that. And unfortunately, when dealing with people with addictions and issues, is you can be there when they're ready to come to the table for support, but everybody's got to come to it on their own. Everybody's got to reach their threshold of how much they're willing to take. And unfortunately, they've all got to eat shit a little bit. And you kind of have to step out of the way and facilitate them eating shit.
Right, because from personal experience, I have one of my best friends is locked hard in addiction to a point where I don't know that she'll survive the next few years. And for a period of time, even though I know all this stuff, right, I was compelled to try to interject, right, try to help, try to fix, do something, anything, because I felt that nothing was being done. And I spent a few months in absolute anguish and pain, complete, like it consumed me, absolutely consumed me. And I think, just thinking through it and knowing what I know and kind of being able to, see past it, at some point I was able to snap out of it and be like, well, why don't I use my skills, right? I know that to be supportive of somebody, what it takes is letting them know, okay, so I support your sobriety. I support you in that, and I'll hang out with you and be your friend and all this stuff and help you when it is that you want to receive help. And until then, I'm going to detach. And that is, what people were, I was consulting friends and things like that. And they were like, telling me this, but I didn't want to believe it because I was so locked into trying to save her. Right. And, coming back to the realization, I was released. I was freed. She still is doing what she's doing.
Right.
And if I hadn't freed myself, then rather than spending the last 4 months free, I would have spent the last 4 months in anguish.
You'd be still on the ride.
And it's so funny because I must be the most uncompassionate person alive. I do not have that in my soul that goes like, hey, I want to help you out and micromanage this. Literally, like, it just happened in the past, like 3 months. I had a buddy that said, hey, I'm really concerned about this with my mom. I said, hey, this has been my experience. I say, don't harp on her because it's not adding to like her enjoyment of life, blah, 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 blah. And then we finished our hike. And I love her mom. I adore her mom.
Right. But she was soliciting. She was soliciting your feedback. She was bringing it up in, probably had a really strong external frame of reference and is like, hey, I've got this thing I'm working through. I would like your opinion, as opposed to, having someone who's going through something and isn't necessarily asking for help and just going, hey, XYZ might be something you might look into. I have all these books. I have all this information. I have all this stuff. I went to this and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's kind of, when you're struggling with something, the last thing you want to hear is someone telling you they know what you're going through and the solution to all your problems.
If you started drinking again and you were just like a ship show,
I would come on the air.
You know what I mean? And I would be like, no, you wouldn't. I'd lock you out of my freaking studio. I would. I'm not nice that way. I'm like, are you going to create a bunch of drama in my life? Hold on. Not fun drama? Kind of like fun drama.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But are you going to create like not fun drama? Okay. Lose my number and pretend I'm dead. I swear, I'm like
if I started drinking again, that's what would happen.
You know what? Okay, if you started drinking again and it didn't really affect me in any way, shape, or form, I would say, okay, well, hopefully that doesn't affect you too much, but it probably would. Okay. And then it would, and I'd be like, hey, dude, I don't think that this works for you. I would tell you that, but I wouldn't take on you as a project.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And I would go, you don't know me.
Well, no. And I think, and it kind of goes back to the same thing. And I realized I have like no maternal instinct whatsoever. I was a camp counselor for kids that are like really sick. Okay. Who lets me be a camp counselor for kids with like leukemia and stuff? No idea. Okay. Thank you, Paul Newman Foundation. By the way, anyway, so I was a camp counselor and I found out that, first of all, they did like this training at the beginning and they said, okay, the kids will know, they'll pick out right away the person that's going to let them do everything. So, we're going to train you not to do that. I'm like, just be done, because I am going to let them do everything. They have leukemia. They have sickle cell disease. I don't care what they do. I'm going to let them know when I see them, don't make a slip and slide into the knife drawer. That's it. That's all you got to do. Just live till the end of the week. We're good, homies. Okay. So I just didn't have that. I don't have that like thing.
That's still a maternal instinct.
It is.
That's just not a coddling maternal instinct. It's a different kind of maternal instinct.
Stacey, I have to agree with you, your mindset, because I have very similar mindset as you. I have a buddy who's suffering depression, and I have this saying, I live in my world. I live in my world, so I control what enters my world, what goes out. And some of the stuff that doesn't come in, like death, I still have the ability how I want to communicate.
Right.
I own my mind. Nobody owns my mind.
Right.
So I understand the mindset that you're talking about. My buddy he's my buddy. I love this dude. Sometimes he gets, a little depressed where we're going, and he's seen to the doctor. So he has some background where this is coming from. So he talks to me, goes, hey man, I'm going through this, I'm okay. I'm sorry right there, dude. So I'm going to tell you right now, no one cares about you in this world. You need to know, you need to understand the truth. No one cares about you, about you in this world. You need to love yourself, man. Then people will start coming in. And so we're at the grocery store. He goes, hey man, I'm feeling kind of sad. I'm like, okay, look around, dude. Look around. The manifestation outside is the manifestation inside. If you want to have a good time, you create it, man. You create it. And that's it, man. That's it.
Well, no, and it's funny that you're just saying this too. Do you know who Andy Dooley is? He was he's a power of law of attraction, thoughts or energy kind of guy. And he has a 3-week segment on our show. And tonight was his first night. And I am very much a thoughts or energy kind of person. I also, I wouldn't put it the same way that you do, but I do feel nobody thinks about you like you think about you. So when people are sort of, that's kind of the nice way to say exactly what you just said. See, I'm so sweet. You can pour me over pancakes. So, but
like if someone has a paranoia that people are out to get them, it's like, I don't think people are really thinking all that much about you.
Right.
To be out to get you.
Or that, thank you, Arturo, for finally getting on the mic, for God's sake. I mean, oh my God, people probably thought we killed you in here. Hey, what happened to Arturo?
He's the strong, silent type.
We just, the brown guy
he's
came
like
in
Gary
and we were
Cooper.
trying to be prejudiced against him and everything. Who knew? You know what? We're going to go to another commercial. Thank you for joining in. I would certainly hope that you step up to the mic for the rest of the
You're
show.
listening to Social Penetration on WCAS Radio.
Nicely done, homie.
Hey, buddy.
People are always talking about the stock market, always looking to invest in a good opportunity. something with the potential to grow. So what if you could invest in the future of kids like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures from UNCF. Your investment can help students go to college, which makes the future better for everybody. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A message from UNCF, the Ad Council, and WCAS Radio.
Would your business survive a disaster? Nearly 2/3 of businesses aren't prepared for an emergency, and 40% of businesses experiencing a disaster never recover. Make an emergency plan now before it's too late. For a free online tool that helps you develop an emergency plan to keep your business up and running should disaster strike, visit ready.gov/business. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, American Red Cross, and by WCAS Radio.
Today, nearly 17 million kids struggle with hunger, and without free school lunches, many of them will miss meals this summer. But even though the school year might end, free meals for your kids don't have to. If your child relies on free or reduced price lunches, Feeding America can help provide them with food this summer. Help your kids stop worrying about food and start focusing on fun. Visit feedingamerica.org/summer meals to find your local food bank for help. Once again, that's feedingamerica.org/summer meals. Together, we're feeding America. This message is brought to you by Feeding America, the Ad Council, and WCAS Radio.
Today, 50% of jobs require some technology skills, and 80% of teachers give homework online. Whether it's finding a job, helping your children with homework, or connecting with friends and family, it is vital that every American have the digital literacy skills they need to succeed. Call 1-855-EVRY-1ON or visit everyoneon.org to find free internet and computer training classes in your area. That's 1-855-EVRY-1ON or on the web at everyoneon.org. Brought to you by Connect to Compete, the Ad Council, and by WCAS Radio.
Everyone relax. She's not going to take anyone's airtime.
No commercials, no distractions.
Can I start over again?
Central 108.
I don't know what we're yelling about!
WCAS Radio.
Hey, everyone! Come and see how
We get more that listen.
Penetration, where entertainment meets
Not so much on.
It's on WCAS Radio Central 108.
We're back, buddy.
Right?
Yeah, we're good. And we're talking through all the commercials and stuff right now because I turned on the mics a little bit early because guess what? Nobody's the boss of me. Everybody, you're listening to WCAS Auraria. This is Social Penetration, where entertainment meets enlightenment. If you guys log on to our YouTube channel, Social Penetration Radio, you'll see the cutest little couple you ever did see.
Oh, come on.
Meredith,
Aaron and Arturo.
And you guys are totes adorbs. Love it. I know. So, Aaron, where do you want to go to dinner tonight, homie? We're going to birthday dinner.
I really don't know. You are the expert on fine dining.
Ocean Prime. That's what I say, Ocean Prime.
I do love Ocean Prime.
Let's go to Ocean Prime.
I've never been to Ocean Prime.
We're going to Ocean Prime. Can we go there for a birthday?
Yeah.
Okay. Ocean Prime. Plus, they make me mocktails.
I'm turning
with dry ice.
33 on Monday.
That's made me puke in my mouth a little bit.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm stoked about it. I actually heard Brad Eisenhower, DJ Wonder Brad from White Fudge. We were at the studio yesterday, and he's got a kid now, and he's like, man, I'm old. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you are 32, and I'm so tired of hearing people in their 30s talk about being old. Like there are old men in their 70s and 80s who come into the bar, and they're sitting there, and they're like, how old are you, Aaron? And I go, oh, I'm 32. And they go, oh my God, you're a baby. You're a baby. You've got your whole life ahead of you.
I was so cute when I was 32.
They just grab you, and they're like, hold on to it as long as you can, sonny. Don't get old. And I'm like, yes, sir. I will do exactly what you say.
Good
and
call.
my dad is 62, and he's the biggest kid in the whole family.
Nice.
Like Christmas time is not for the kids. It is for dad. And like we always get my dad the most extravagant gift and make a big deal out of it. And like he makes the biggest deal. He's like, son, I just wanted to let you know that I sent you my Christmas list early. I know it's only October, but I wanted to make sure it got out. Now, if you need any information on
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. He's a nut.
That's awesome. I love birthdays. Birthdays are over the top for me. And about 8 years ago, I told my whole family, I was like, okay, here's the deal. First of all, my family is humongous. Okay, number one. Number two, I am a very thoughtful gift giver. And I don't mean like necessarily
No, that's
thoughtful
absolutely true.
kind, but full of thought.
As seen in this diagram.
Yeah, no, but I just, I'm very full of thought. So it's a big deal to me to like give somebody something that means that I know that they'll love and what it means something to
That
them.
is incredibly nurturing of you, Stacey.
Aw.
And maternal.
And maternal.
I'm puking a little in my mouth right now.
Totally
But-
maternal.
But with that said, here I have this huge family, and I'd get like trips to the Broadmoor, or just things that I knew that like and when I say trips to the Broadmoor, I mean that this would be a couple that loves going to the Broadmoor.
I love
the
Broadmoor.
Yeah, and that I wanted them to have that experience of like being in love with each other at the Broadmoor, right? And probably getting it on too, but okay.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Getting the whole, like it's like more of an experience, right? And then I'd get like a coffee cup and I don't mean like I care what I'm getting in return. It's just that I'd rather get nothing than get something super thoughtless, or that I'd watch like me and 11 other people get all the same stuff. And that hurt my heart a little bit. So I said, here's the deal. Plus, I hate shopping. I like to buy stuff. I hate to shop. So I said to my family, here's the deal. I'm not going out in that ship show of between Thanksgiving and Christmas. By the way, when did we like start being such Jesus loving people? I don't remember any of this. I mean, like, how did this? You guys know that it's Jesus's birthday, right? You know what I mean? Like, this is not all about buying a bunch of crap.
Well,
but so here was my deal. I was like, here's the thing. For Christmas, I want the time it would have taken me to get you a gift, and that's what I'm giving you in return. But when it comes to be your birthday, I will blow it up. I love birthdays so much. Like, he didn't even know that I knew it was his birthday. Isn't that even better? Did you know I knew that it was your birthday?
And she had me carry. She goes, "Oh, hey, can you grab that box and carry it in?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure. I wonder what this is." And then she passes it to me on the air and goes, "Hey, will you open that box?" And I almost cried.
He did.
I really did.
Well, and it was so cute.
No, that is probably the most thoughtful gift I've had in a very long time.
It was full of thought
Yeah.
from my heart too, for
Yeah.
real. And on the way here, one of my buddies got in the back of the car. We ran into one of my buddies on the way here, and we were just talking about him. So he hopped in the car and he said, "Hey, will you give us a ride over to the Pepsi Center?" He goes, "Hey, what's in this box?" And I said, "Oh, that's for someone that's on the show tonight." Well, it's true.
I wasn't even paying attention. I'm looking out the window going,
because I can't lie. Like, so I just had to, but that was so fast. It was like, oh, that's for somebody that's on the show tonight.
you reframe the truth. You don't lie.
Right.
You reframe the truth.
So that's what I did. I told my family, I'm like, no more Thanksgiving, no more Christmas, but birthdays, all about it. So Christmas in my family for the first, and this is another thing I said. If you give me a gift, I'm going to give it back. And don't be pissed that I just gave you a gift back because I just told you I'm going to give your presents back. Okay? So don't make me look like the jackass on December 25th when I just told you on December 1st that if you got me something, I was going to give it back.
I'm getting you a fishing pole.
So my friends were thrilled because they're like, oh, thank God we don't have to do this whole Christmas thing with each other anymore and all this other stuff. My family still tried to do it with me. And I was like, oh, you kind of look like the jackass because you got to give back. So then they kind of would just give it to me later in the year or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, that means a lot more to me that you would give it to me later in the year. Anyway, then my nieces and nephews started to get to be in their 20s. And they're like, will you pretty please talk to our parents and tell them to not do this anymore? And so, yeah, we don't exchange gifts anymore. So Christmas looks exactly like Thanksgiving in my family.
That's good.
Except for shit is red and green instead of orange and brown. That's the only difference.
Orange and brown.
Yeah, that's
orange and brown?
how Thanksgiving is orange and brown,
Oh,
right?
right.
And red and orange and brown and all the lovely colors of Thanksgiving. Okay, so just in case you just tuned in to Social Penetration, don't know what the hell we're talking about. We're talking about addiction. Don't know at all how I just went off on that tangent. But here in the studio, it's me, it's Meredith, it's Arturo, and Aaron Howell, whose birthday's next Monday.
Yay! My dirty 33.
Yep. Glad your parents did it, homie.
Me
well,
too.
I call it the nerdy 33.
The nerdy 33.
Yeah, the
Nice.
nerdy 33.
Yeah.
No,
I
43
did have a
feels
year.
pretty
I did have a
nerdy.
nerdy year. And I think I'm going to have another nerdy year coming up.
I
Yeah,
think
as
I
we get
had-
older, we get nerdier and nerdier.
I'm
so.
super more nerdier. Oh,
yeah,
for
I
sure.
had a nerdy 30, a nerdy 31, going on
I'm
to a nerdy 32.
I'm 43 and a half. My
What is the sweatpant age? When do you start wearing sweatpants and not caring?
Depends on what part of the country you live in. I think here in Denver, that's the day after never. I think in Omaha, it's like 20 and a half.
Jerry, now that Jerry is about to have his second kid.
Right.
Jerry Cass, by the way, who I'm talking about,
Right.
runs the Biker Jim's hot dog cart
Yeah.
here on campus.
Uh-huh.
And he's an old friend and a bandmate of mine.
Yep.
And he wears sweatpants all the time.
He does wear
But he
sweatpants.
also has, he's got his lady and he's getting ready to have his second kid.
Uh-huh.
And he's got a house out in the suburbs and like gets excited about new lawnmowers and stuff like that. Like he
Boo.
talks about his new gadgets that he get. Like he is born to be a dad.
Good.
Like, and he is sweatpants full time and does not care. Like that guy gives zero
I
fluff
guess
and
that's
nargan.
the difference.
Yeah.
If you don't give
If you-
a fluff, then wear sweatpants.
He
But
cares about other things.
if you do give a fluff, and if you give a fluff as far as what other people perceive of you, and you want to put forth
Jerry.
a
Not Jerry.
certain,
Mhm.
yeah, if you want to put forth, a certain prowess about yourself,
Mhm.
then perhaps sweatpants is not what you would choose to wear.
Or maybe it is if you're Jack LaLanne.
Hey, maybe
Or-
maybe Jerry is addicted to comfort.
Maybe he is addicted to comfort, and those soft,
Right.
cushy sweatpants are chock full of comfort.
They sure are.
Oh
The
my God.
suicide slacks, I like to call them.
Oh my God, they really are. Okay, so back to our show. We never left, really. I know this is so odd that we would get off on a tangent. So there's a new study that's been done that says that oxytocin could prevent drunkenness. And what this basically says, in Australia, they gave rats oxytocin and a moderate amount of booze, and found that it suppressed the activity of certain receptors in the brain when they were given a moderate amount of booze. Okay, so oxytocin actually helped them not get as drunk. Okay,
That makes sense. Like if
when you're in love.
Well, no, and check it out. Like if you are at a party
Yeah.
or a wedding or like, I told you that one of the problems I used to have was I would drink on stage
Uh-huh.
and then I would come off and like crash
Uh-huh.
because you're so
Right.
fired up on adrenaline and oxytocin and you're like, I'm having the best time of my life. And you can drink
Uh-huh.
and drink. And like, how many weddings have you been to where you can just drink all night? But then when you go out and you drink when you're sad, it's like one beer, one shot, just all of a sudden gets the waterworks going and you start getting like, I hate my life and everything's terrible.
That didn't
It
happen to me.
Never happened to me once.
No, I
Uh,
really didn't have that.
No, I
Yeah.
had plenty of sad drinking nights.
Really?
But but I wonder, like I could totally see a correlation between oxytocin and adrenaline and kind of dialing back the effects of alcohol, or at least the immediacy of it. Now, this isn't to tell everybody to just go out and get wasted as long as you're really, really, really happy.
Actually, this
Right,
is
I'm
probably
not
the
sure.
only reason that any of us were born. But the odd part is that when they were given lots of booze, the oxytocin didn't work anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that just
So-
shoots a hole in.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's the other part of it? I mean, because it doesn't
Mhm.
go that far.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I mean, we have to look at the thing that I would worry about when reading stuff like this
Mhm.
is misinformation.
Yeah.
Because in the media, we are given loads of false information,
Uh-huh.
and false studies that, or maybe they are true studies, but in fact, their statistics are not.
Cheetos cure erectile dysfunction. I
Right,
said it on the
right.
radio. That's the
Right.
media.
They're-
I just said
you
things.
can look to find what
Hey,
you want to
let's-
find.
Let's start a rumor. You guys want to start a rumor?
Yeah, the Cheetos cure erectile dysfunction.
Okay, we're gonna go with that then.
Okay.
All right. So, in case you're just tuning in, we're talking to Dr. Meredith, who
Not quite.
Not yet.
quite.
Yeah, but
I'm
this is
almost
the
getting
media.
there.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
but
this
this
is
is
the
the
media.
okay,
Oh,
okay.
so we can just
Can I
lie.
be a doctor too?
Okay, Dr. Stacy McDonald. Okay, we're here with a bunch of doctors.
Hold
Dr.
on, I want to be
Arturo.
Princess
I'm-
Sparkaloony.
I
Okay.
am King Big Dick McHandsome. And we are talking about how Cheetos have been proven. It is an absolute scientific fact that Cheetos cure erectile dysfunction. Did you know that?
Oh yes, clearly.
Did you know that?
When they
Yeah.
put rats in a Leonard Skinner box.
Yeah. It was in some medical journal.
Yeah, and then when they ate their face off on crunchy Cheetos, but not fluffy Cheetos or whatever those
No, the
ones are
fluffy
called.
Cheetos actually have the exact opposite effect.
Right.
And flaming hot Cheetos actually not only
Amplify?
cure the erectile dysfunction, but they make you shoot fire out of your cock.
Right.
So,
Who knew? You heard it here
You
first.
heard it here first.
Yeah,
That is
actually,
scientific information that we
this-
just spread into the world.
Right, which could be about as valid as what we just read.
Right.
although I do like this particular website, it's The Fix. I don't know if you've read this, but it's a lot of stuff on addiction research. Yeah, I like it. But so just to keep in mind, that they need to do more tests, but oxytocin, we already talked about this.
Yeah.
Oxytocin, they're looking at it to maybe cause some sobering effects. Here, actually, can you believe we only have to, doesn't this fly by?
Yeah.
Are you just like, oh my God, this is
15
painful?
minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not just like, that was the most painful experience I've ever had.
No wonder your
Okay.
show is popular. I could see why people could just sit there and listen.
Right?
Yeah.
And
Wait,
and
our
we were
show's
on-
popular?
Right? And we've been
Our show's popular.
and we were on an hour before you guys walked in.
And that's a
Can
doctor
you
saying
believe
that.
that? Okay, so yeah.
Trust me, I'm a doctor.
When I was a camp counselor, the kids named me Princess Sparkaloony, and they didn't name anyone else anything else. It was like Jim, Tammy, Adam, Princess Sparkaloony. Isn't that nice? Yeah, who knew?
It's fitting.
And they gave me a cape. Nobody else had a cape. Okay, so I'm going to go through this just to kind of wrap up our show. We didn't have enough time to talk about the alternative universe. We'll have to talk about that. I think that could almost be a whole show.
The alternative universe.
Yeah.
Oh yes, like Second Life.
Okay, Second Life. Yeah, whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah,
Second Life.
absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
that is
Okay, a whole new show.
could be.
Okay, and let's do one on social media and that whole thing. Okay, we will. Will you come back?
Sure.
You will?
Yeah.
Hold on, you've been here for an hour and 45 minutes and you said you'll come back? No,
Thank you very much for coming and hanging out.
thank
We'd
you
love to have
so
guys
much
back.
for coming in.
Yeah, of
And
course.
oddly enough, everyone that's ever been on the show said they love being here.
Good.
Isn't that crazy?
Oddly enough, it's fun.
No, for
fun.
you. I know, but then it's like, yeah, because you're here. I mean, they're like, oh my God, she asked me too many questions. And then she goes off on a tangent.
She actually
Attention
hired me
span
from
of
an
a two.
escort service.
Right. Actually, we have one of my buddies, Andy Burkaw, is also in his band, and he's my homie.
Yeah. That's how
Mhm.
we met.
Yep.
That's how we met.
Oh,
and we've
so
been
cute.
together ever since.
Ever since. Yep. I don't know what I would say to that. I'll think of something. Okay, so 10 things I wish I knew at the beginning of sobriety. You ready to hear these?
Yeah.
You already started to read them. He started reading this. I'm like, don't read it. We like spontaneity around here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Number one, it won't always be easy. I mean,
Oh, really? Did we not know that?
I know.
Okay.
Well, thank God that they tell us about this because that seems. Did you think it was going to be hard?
The first dozen times that I tried, just like,
yeah.
well, I'm done. I can tell right now. I feel that I will never drink
So
again.
easy.
And the state of mind I'm in at this very moment will never change.
Right.
But
and
I
I'll never
learned-
go through any. You know what? One of the most times I had like a tangible craving for alcohol was when I first went on a date when I was sober, and I was like, "Whoa, that's
I still
gonna
have
be
them all the time.
trippy to like go out on a date and not be drunk." And it was funny because that particular date, he asked me while we were out. He's like, "So you've never done cocaine before?" And I'm like, and he knows I don't drink because, like, it's an issue. Right. And I also told him, yeah, I just, used to smoke my face off. Yeah, I don't drink. He was cool with it. He was like, you're still a really fun person. I'm like, well, that's good to know. I had no idea. And, but he's like, wow, you've never tried cocaine? And I'm like, nope. He goes, you should definitely try it. You would love it. Huh. Okay.
It is a hell of a drug.
I've heard it's pretty great. I'm going to get an 8-ball when I'm 90.
But, part of where our cravings come from is, our own conditioning. We condition ourselves into, wanting or desiring whatever substance or behavior at certain times and in certain situations.
Yep.
So when you were on that date, you
Mhm.
were like, wow, okay, I usually drink to
Mhm.
probably ease my
Make you seem,
tension
actually
or-
make you seem like you're as smart as I am.
Yeah, I have.
Right?
I have.
Really, that really really is it.
So I don't talk circles around you.
I literally I realized that I used to drink either to make myself dumber so that I was more on the level of my audience, or to make them seem smarter because I was like dulled enough that they seemed as brilliant as I am.
I still get cravings for alcohol all the time.
Do you?
Yeah, because there's an association with it. You know,
but you're in a band too.
I miss having beers and shots with my friends.
Yeah.
You know, I love to party. I love to drink with my friends, but that's also based on kind of an illusory beer commercial that exists in my head. That's like, when it's Friday night and you're ready to hang out with the boys, you need, Coors Banquet and a shot of tequila. And, there's that in my head.
Yeah.
But I just have to remind myself, okay, beer commercial mind, that is not the reality of what happens when I drink. So I'm just, I don't do it, but there's still a part of me that goes, oh, I wanna.
Yeah. I sometimes do have a little bit of a pity party. Not that I want to necessarily drink, but it's like, oh, well, how come I just can't drink like normal, like those folks? You know what I mean? Like, how come I can't just have 2 glasses of wine? Whatever.
It just is.
And then
I
know that's exactly how I feel about it. It's just like, it just is what it is.
How
okay.
come some people can, are allergic to wheat and you are
Right.
not? It
Right.
just is.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So number 2 is not everyone will approve or understand. At first I really did have quite a few people that were like, dude, you don't really have a problem. Like, your drinking's really not a problem. I'm like, well, it is for me. I mean, I wake up and I feel like ass. And the only reason I don't miss work is because I just told myself I wasn't ever going to miss work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I would go to, I do real estate appraisals for work, and I would be just like probably still reeking of booze. And, I'm self-employed though, so they still owe me $400, even though I walked through your house like reeking of booze and couldn't wait to go back to bed. Which kind of sucks that I would do that to people. But you know what I mean? In my mind's eye,
I got
never
mixed
missed work.
results. I got mixed results for sure.
Yeah.
Mixed responses.
Okay. It always gets better. And this one says, I was pretty convinced that life as I knew it was ending when I got sober. I didn't think that I would ever be as happy as I was when I was using, or that life would seems as bright. But guess what? I still do everything I did pre-sobriety, minus the drinking, and I even have fun while sober. And I do everything. I can't think of anything I don't do, because I was never a person that just went to a bar and hung out and drank anyway. Like, I would go to dinner and drink. I do like concerts at, Oriental, or go see you guys, and I just drink ginger ale instead of copious amounts of beer. I love that on our Facebook page where somebody posted drinking can actually be good for you or something like that.
That was lovely. I read that study. I was like,
Did you see what I posted?
Right.
Probably not in the copious amounts that I used to imbibe. Probably not. Like, really? Did they mean like 3 bottles at a time? Probably not. Okay. Not everyone you lose is a loss. I didn't really lose anybody.
Neither
that
did I.
actually is some pretty good advice there.
Yeah.
Not everyone you lose is a loss, because you will, a lot of folks will lose, especially if you are abstaining and cannot be around alcohol. And that's a lot of folks early on, they'll have extreme losses of friendships, but not realizing that necessarily that person might not have been their friend, just their drinking buddy.
Yeah.
I was pretty fortunate. I don't feel that I lost anybody. In fact, my relationships with people only deepened.
That's lucky.
Yeah.
That is very lucky. Most people don't have that. But I think part of that for you is your ability to communicate. So not everybody has, can use their words in a way that can, tame anxiety in their friends or in their family or whatnot, or be able to get across to them what they need out of the friendship.
There were certainly periods of time when I felt very isolated and I felt very uncomfortable in my own skin, but I got over it.
Yeah. Initially, there is something where you're like, there is something missing here, and I'm not quite sure what it is. Oh, it's my personality.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
you
Or
just
whatever.
you look at people and you go, God, I am just like, because you're still wrestling with that part of you that wants to drink and use, you project just like this anger out to people, and it's just like, God, I hate you, you wastoid piece of shit.
See, I didn't have that either.
Oh, I got I had nights where I was bartending and I was just like, if I have to deal with one more drunk, I'm going to choke them in public. Like I struggled a little bit at first.
I guess.
Oh, yeah. I mean, ex-smokers are like the worst, right? We're like, I'm gonna throw up. Oh my gosh.
I was never like that either.
A lot of us are.
Yeah.
A lot of us are.
And not only that, but I'm not saying that I don't understand that. Like losing people to me, I really do think everything is perfect. You just don't know why at the time.
Mhm.
I mean, like really party in my brain. I really think everything is perfect. I'm not kidding you. Like losing relationships. Like when my stepdad died, I mean, I cried hard because I adored him, but I was like, I wonder when I'm going to see the perfection in this. And as time went on, I went, oh, he died at just the right time. And this was so, okay, I'm glad I can see the perfection.
Yeah, that's
in it.
that Napoleon Hill stuff we
Yeah.
talked about.
No.
The seed of equivalent or greater benefit in every
Mhm.
adversity.
Who knew? It is not weak to let people help you. I actually still, that is something that I have to try very hard to receive. That's it's very hard for me to receive. It's like, then I'm like dependent, or I'm trying to think of how, and my friends have to say, look, dude, let me buy you this cup of coffee. You know how much you like to give to people? That's how much I like it too. So
I also think that, however, that there's a fine line of boundaries and my personal experience with changing my lifestyle and deciding to remain free from alcohol. There's a lot of people who I won't like the way that they talk to me about it. You know what I mean? It's like, hey man, really proud of you for staying sober. And, they talk to, and it's like, you don't know me like that. Get your hands off me. Just like, I'm not some Skid Row drunk. And that's my own ego getting in the way. But it's like, I'm not some Skid Row drunk. I just made a decision to stop drinking. So,
well, and not only that, but I don't actually appreciate people saying, way to go. Oh, for acting right. You're welcome.
Do you know what it is? Is that they're not qualified to make such a statement.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Yeah. It's like you don't know the situation. You don't know the details. And I mean, I get it. They're trying to connect and they're trying to relate, but it's like, you don't know.
Dude says 2 sentences and both are like totally insightful. No wonder you don't talk your face off. Oh,
I wonder
no.
why I like him.
Right. Instead, I talk for 3 hours and don't say ship. You're welcome. And they give me a mic in a studio.
Talk all
Who
day.
does that? Right?
Don't say.
Suckers.
All
Okay.
right, what's next?
Okay. Let's see. Denial is powerful, but acceptance is more powerful. So this person, and just to give this quick anecdote, it says that they occasionally return to the treatment center where they got sober. And once their counselor told them that was the last person she ever expected to come back willingly based on their first month there, and definitely the last person she expected to want to stay sober. And she said, since I was initially forced into treatment, I was in denial about having a problem. It would have been many more months, even years before I came to that conclusion on my own. Even though deep down I knew that I did not drink like a normal person, I denied having any real problem. And that was the driving force in my inability to make any progress. It sounds cliche, but once I accepted that I had a problem, I was able to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, agreed. Number 7, sobriety leads to crossing paths with some incredible and not so incredible people. I found that I never had a lower vibration or frequency of people around me until I went to like those meetings. But I mean, I've had the people that we get on our show, like one guy had a show on Oprah Radio. And you know how I get these people? I just call them, hey, want to be on my show? It's called Social Penetration. They love the name of the show.
Good.
No, I get that. There are people that you meet and there are people that you meet on both ends of it that, when you're drinking and drugging, there are people that you meet that aren't the best, most healthy people to be around. But there are also really healthy, good people that you can be around. And on the flip side, not everybody you meet in the meetings or in recovery is going to be a saint. There are absolutely chicken hawks in those rooms sometimes who prey on people.
It goes back to, you like who you like.
You don't like who you don't like. Yeah.
Just because somebody is working toward a common goal doesn't mean that you have to like them.
Yeah.
And kind of tricking yourself into thinking that might cause you stress and anxiety as you're going through your treatment process. Why do I have to be suggested to all these people and all, you don't. You just, walk the line that feels best to you.
Agreed.
this one right here, I think it has more gravity to me because you want to be with like-minded individuals, not because it's gonna be fun, not because you're gonna have a good time. No. Cut the bullshit. You want to be around like-minded people because it's gonna increase your survival. That's what it is. If you're with people who have low self-esteem or not the correct mindset, you're going to lose. You need to understand that you need to succeed in this world, and you are going to, but you need to do it in the right culture, in the right tribe, the right mindset of people.
Yeah,
Without it,
absolutely. Right
you're gonna
culture,
lose, man.
right
We're gonna
tribe.
we'll go till 9:15. How about that? We'll go to wherever we want. Nobody's the boss of me.
Okay.
Okay. So here's the thing. Like
Well, I
that
mean,
you
we're
were saying,
almost there. We're almost there.
yeah, that you were saying about that the guy that called, that Andy Dooley, he has online what he calls his vibe tribe.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So okay, complacency is dangerous. Sometimes I get lazy, don't go to meetings. The same feeling I would get in a night before drinking. Staying ahead of your addiction is vital. I think that's absolutely key.
Oh, absolutely. Vigilance.
Yep.
Vigilance.
I mean, like there's sometimes where I'm like, I don't really need to go to my counselor anymore. I actually probably then need my counselor more than ever.
The minute you start messing with yourself, the
Mhm.
minute you have the angel and the devil on your shoulder, and the devil takes over,
Mhm.
is the minute you need to actually let who you are come back
Mhm.
and take over,
Yep.
because otherwise,
I think I have my
that-
devil though.
like we said, that's the pink cloud right there.
Mhm.
Complacency is the pink cloud,
Mhm.
and we are in control of that, complete control of that. And if we don't have control of that, then we don't have control of us. And if we don't have control of us, then
Mhm.
all sorts of other stuff happens, right?
Yeah, I can see
Depression,
that.
anxiety, eating disorders, anything can come out of complacency.
I can see that. There's no better high than a life you're proud of. Absolutely. And number 10, we'll end it on this. Sobriety will never be a regret.
That's true.
That's true.
Yeah. No, it will never be a regret.
I've
Actually,
never
I'm gonna go through this
regretted
one.
being sober.
Five reasons sobriety is awesome. We'll go through this one too. Number 1, not being hungover. Oh my God. Did you get hangovers, Aaron?
Oh, the worst.
Mine too. And I don't know why I kept doing it. Okay, looking good. Okay, why not add a little vanity to the gratitude list? I don't necessarily think anything's changed, but people will tell me like, "Wow, you look different. Wonder why you look different."
healthier.
Yeah, who knew?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's because my liver isn't riddled with alcohol. Relationships with other sober people. I have great relationships with other sober people.
Even not sober people.
Even not
honestly.
sober. But you know what? My sober friends kind of like get this thing. And I really love that relationship with them. Like
Your
I love,
energy burns cleaner.
yeah, a good call. Having the guts to make hard decisions. Now that does kind of blow because you have to like really make hard decisions. But every time I do it, I'm super proud of myself. Even if it's a tiny thing where it's like, I'm feeling kind of heartbroken right now. I'm just gonna meditate and just feel my heartbreak, and I'm not gonna do anything about it. I'm just gonna feel heartbroken for 8 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna go get a bowl of cereal now. You know what I mean? But it feels good to go like I didn't react to that. It
Yeah,
was all
just
good.
to observe it.
Yeah, and not wanting or needing to drink. So that's actually crazy to me. Is that I am in like we can go to Ocean Prime. I can get a steak for dinner, and like I don't have to drink red wine. No kidding.
There was a period of time where I did not think that I would ever be completely and totally free from alcohol. There was a time where I was like, I'll be able to quit anything else in the world.
Oh, me too.
But I will never be able to.
I thought the
stop
same about
drinking
cigarettes
entirely.
though too.
Yeah. I really thought that. And I will share this. There was, at least initially, there was a vindictive motivation. Now, I think that it's important to focus on what you want and move toward what you want and move toward a picture of what you want. But a good away from is a good starting point.
Yeah.
And I had a vindictive motivation to beat the band. I would hear, I work in a bar and I work in the music business, no secret. But I would hear people who were equal F-ups to me, and they would just regale people in tales of when Aaron got drunk and, oh, you should hear what this happened. And then I was like, I told somebody who really had no business sharing my my exploits to people, really had, really was criticizing me in front of a bunch of people. And I was feeling pretty embarrassed about it. And I was like, You know what? If I didn't drink, there is nothing that you could say about me that I couldn't own up to. There's not one thing that you could say that I would be ashamed of. Not one. And I was like, and I'll bet if I quit drinking that you wouldn't have that. And I stopped drinking, and you know what? It's the truth. There's nothing that is a flaw in my character that I cannot own up to now.
Nice.
That I
Right.
can that I have no problem taking ownership
And on
of.
that last one there, we were talking about abstinence versus harm reduction,
Mhm.
right? Or versus reducing the intake. And if you do choose to reduce the intake rather than abstain, then you'll never feel that last one,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
which is why it's so powerful to take yourself away from it. First of all, you're able to heal your body because we know the effects of any kind of substance over time or behavior over time is affecting your brain and body in the same way, regardless of its substance
Think
or
of how
behavior.
smart I'd be.
But if you don't abstain, then you never feel like I don't need to do it or I don't want to do it. You'll never have that feeling. You'll never take full control over your life.
That's beautiful. On that note, we're going to end. This is Social Penetration, where entertainment meets enlightenment.
I'm Aaron Howell from Heavy Mental Coaching.
Arturo Hernandez from Muse Bank.
I'm Meredith Fisher from Metro State University.
Yeah, and I am Meredith Fisher's very favorite student, Stacy McDonald, and host there of Social Penetration. Join us next week. Thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks for joining us for another scintillating episode of Social Penetration. We're here every Wednesday, 6 to 9 p.m. on WC.